Hey, yo, I've been talking that whole time, yo, and y'all couldn't hear me. My bad, yo. Get in here at 3:30. 3:30, y'all. 3:30. We gonna go live. Give me a second.
I ain't asking for a friend. I need to know myself. And if you never ask, how would you know yourself? It's crazy how your parents know you more than you know yourself. Growth is good, it's important just to know your wealth. Don't let them take advantage like niggas who speak Spanish and you don't speak a lick of it. The game will make you trip a bit. Street money is cool till you get sick of it. And all that bullshit that come along with it. Make sure you stay on your square and keep a strong pivot. Cause them cruddy buddies, they'll do you ugly. And why every female favorite question is, do you love me? And if you knew better, baby, you would do better. And once you know better, you would show better. Most men want a housewife, but me, I love a go-getter. Your ex pussy wet, but that new pussy be so wetter. No lies detected, just get high and accept it. Go ahead, talk to him, y'all ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Man, let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you say him, you ain't give him no rap. Man, let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta say you gon' be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. Once you start something, can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack. When I was coke dealing, the rules was no squealing, no stealing from your mans and no feelings. For these hoes, that's just gonna mess up the guap. 10 toes down whenever you on your block, or even when you ain't. Don't know 'em from a can of paint. Just be loyal and trustworthy. You ain't gotta be a saint. A lot of y'all be geeking, backstabbing and sneaking. Nose clean during the week, but they dabble on weekends. Oh nigga, I be peeping. Your niggas might be sleeping, but I was trained to tread water in the deep end. Jellyfish sting, but them sharks will bite your head off. Run up on you while you park, get the dumping, then they slid off. The hood know who did it. Now let's see if your homies with it, or your name die in vain cause one of your homies did it. Ain't no reason to kill your man over a kilogram. How you thinking y'all fam, then spin you like a ceiling fan. Go ahead, talk to him, y'all ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you see him, you ain't give him no rap. But let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta tell me you gon' be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. And once you start something, can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack. While I'm still rapping at 40, well, let's chat about it. First of all, my life's amazing. Let's get that about it. Wife is blazing, and her kids get the life savings. Follow the drip, nigga, my eyes glazing. Yo, FSO, in the best that flow. Bars, storytelling, visuals, cadence and concepts, content, impact. Yeah, the boxes is all checked. I just need that one song. Yeah, that one song. And I could clutch the earth with just one palm. Never anxious, look in my eyes, I'm dumb calm. They either gon' walk with you or you gon' run for them. Either way, you gon' have to let your heater spray. Lose yourself, might even have to put that weed away. Now that's a lotto, that's my medication. Gotta stay high, yo, till a nigga die, yo. Album out now, hit the link in my bio. Go ahead, talk to him, you ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Now let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you say him, you ain't give him no rap. Man, let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta tell me you gonna be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. Once you start something, can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack.
Yeah. What's up, Pseudo Killas? Everybody get in here, hit that like button. Okay. Everybody get in here, hit that like button. Let me send out this Zoom link to the Pseudo Killas, see if they're gonna come in here and rap with us for the this Monday Night Madness. You dig? All right, let me switch this. Publish. All right. Cool. Everybody get in here. How was everybody weekend? My weekend was horrible. The Ravens got scraped again, winning the whole game again. To lose in the last few minutes is horrible. What's going on, CK? Hold on, let me get everybody in here. Let me get everybody in here. Make sure we do this right. Make sure we do this right. Got my man Vance up in here. All right, cool. Vance, what's going on, bro?
What's going on with you?
Ain't nothing. Wanted to do a little.
We live?
Yeah, we live already. I had made the thumbnail and everything set for 8:30, so I wanted to be on time. So yeah, we are.
Everybody go subscribe to Real Black Atheist Library on iTunes, podcasts, Spotify, all that. That's all I got to say. Go ahead, bro.
All right. So before we get started, I'm gonna do a reading in the beginning. The name of the show is what the hell did I name it? It's the Pseudo Killas Anti-African. All right, because the sentiment that I've been getting from other people that we've been doing shows with, or people that come on our panel have been repeating the sentiment that that somehow the Pseudo Killas is anti-African, and I want to see if we are. We're gonna go through some things. I know we have a unique position on Africa, but I don't think it's anti-African, right? So, first off, Mika, what's up? Appreciate you. Mika was the first one in here telling y'all to, before we even went live, telling y'all to like the show when y'all get y'all funky asses in here. So, big up to Mika. Charles Goodwin. Charles Goodwin said Roll Tide against Alabama tonight. So I guess he gonna be late. Armchair Philosopher was good, was cracking. Are the Pseudo Killas anti-African? Oh, my bad. Okay, cool. Everything. What's going on? Everything. I just want to say before we get the show started, you're a hater. And that's nothing but respect. It's just what I see. You're a hater. You know what I mean? Or either you a super pseudo is either one. I'm gonna go with hater. I'm not gonna call you a super pseudo. I'm gonna just say you're a hater. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put you at. Ill King, what's going on? Danny Yurt, Lamar Pope, Tuck My Eye, Jeremy, what's going on? Who else we got in here? From West Africa. What you say? Let me see. Let's get it. Sub-Saharan African. Okay. I thought you was about to hate. Danny CK, grab that link and come on in here. I know you on Call of Duty. Mongo, what's going on? Daquan, where you been at, bro? I've been playing your song for the last goddamn month and you ain't been back in here. The song is fire, though. I think you already know that. I think we already told you that song was fire. If you got anything else, you got my email. Send it to me if you got any more fire like that. Who else we got? Yeah. B-Law. Will. I Run and Gun. Sound like a goddamn another Call of Duty player. All right. So is the Pseudo Killas anti-African? Let me see. I want to do this quick reading from W.E.B. Du Bois. I think he summed it up. I think I got COVID, y'all. I need to go get tested. Yeah, I think W.E.B. Du Bois, 100 years ago, over 100 years ago now, has really put things perfectly when it comes to the African American. Hold on. Let me see. Let me get right to it. Great African American intellectual, W.E.B. Du Bois. One of the best that we done created. His work still stand the test of time, even 100 years later. You know, so I'm gonna read from him. You know, far as wise, the always liked his analogy of the two-ness of the Negro. If I can get to it, god dang. Yeah, if I can get to it. All right. Vance, what's going on with you though, bro? Vance then fell off.
Oh man, nothing. Same old, same old.
Did you hear our conversation that we had on Unbiased channel earlier?
Actually, I haven't. I'm actually about to listen to it here in a few. I might listen to. Oh, don't mind. That's my girl playing with the dog. I'm actually about to listen to it in a few. And check out the see what all the fuss is about, because Unc sounded heated when he was on the phone earlier. I was like,
Unc
damn,
was in rare form.
What happened? Yeah, he's in rare form. I already see it. So yeah, I'm very interested to see it. Shout out to Unbiased. You know, he's incessant with the shows. He ain't playing. He might hit you with 2-3 shows a day. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my boy Unbiased.
That's a fact. All right, let me see if I can find this. Cacophony. Yeah. All right, here we go. I found it, y'all. All right, let's get it. Hit that like button, y'all. Boom. Let's go to my iPad. Bam. That should be coming up on the screen now. All right, this is the first chapter of The Souls of Black Folk. He says, after the Egyptian and Indian, the Greek and Roman, the Teuton and Mongolian, the Negro is a sort of seventh son, born with a veil and gifted with second sight. In this American world, a world which yields him no true self-consciousness, but only lets him see himself through the revelation of the other world. It is a peculiar sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, of measuring one's soul by the tape of a world that looks on and assume and amuse contempt and pity. One ever feels his two-ness, an American, a Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings, two worn ideals, and one dark body, whose dogged strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. He says the history of the American Negro is the history of this strife, the longing to attain self-consciousness, manhood, to merge his double self into a better and truer self. In this merging, he wishes neither of the older selves to be lost. He would not Africanize America, for America has too much to teach the world and Africa. He would not bleach his Negro soul in a flood of white Americanism, for he knows that Negro blood has a message for the world. He simply wishes to make it possible for a man to be both a Negro and an American without being cursed and spit upon by his fellows, without having the doors of opportunity closed roughly in his face. This then is the end of his striving to be a co-worker in the kingdom of culture, to escape both death and isolation, to husband and use his best powers and his latent genius. These powers of body and mind have in the past been strangely wasted, dispersed, or forgotten. The shadow of a mighty Negro past flits through the tale of Ethiopia, the shadowy, and Egypt, the Sphinx. Through history, the powers of single black men flash here and there like falling stars and die sometimes before the world has rightly gauged their brightness. Here in America, in the few days since the emancipation, the black man's turning hither and thither in hesitant and doubtful strivings has often made his very strength to lose effectiveness, to seem like absence of power, like weakness. And yet, it is not weakness, it is the contradiction of double aims. The double aimed struggle of the black artisan, on the one hand, to escape white contempt for a nation of mere hewers of wood and drawers of water, and on the other hand, to plug and nail and dig for a poverty-stricken horde, could only result in making him a poor craftsman, for he had but half a heart in either cause. By the poverty and ignorance of his people, the Negro minister or doctor was tempted toward quackery and demagoguery, and by the criticism of the other world toward ideals, and made him ashamed of his lowly task. The would-be black savant was confronted by the paradox that the knowledge his people needed was a twice-told tale to his white neighbors, while the knowledge which would teach the white world was Greek to his own flesh and blood. The innate love of harmony and beauty that set the ruder souls of his people a dancing and a singing raised but confusion and doubt in the soul of the black artist. For the beauty revealed to him was the soul beauty of a race which his larger audience despised, and he could not articulate the message of another people. This waste of double aims, this seeking to satisfy two unreconciled ideals, has worked sad havoc with the courage and faith and deeds of 10,000 people, has sent them often wooing false gods and invoking false means of salvation, and at times has even seemed about to make them ashamed of themselves. That's always been deep to me, right? That's always been deep to me because, like, the way he capsulated it, right, was he's saying that we have a double consciousness, right? Like, we want to be black and proud, right? We want to love Africa, but the world that we live in only give us negative things about Africa. And especially at the time that he lived in, especially, right? So he wanted to be proud of his blackness, right? And he wanted to be recognized as an American. He wanted to be basically the African American, which at his time we was called Negro, right? Wanted both those things. They wanted their blackness to be able to be accepted in America. So this brings me to my point, and I think he laid it out eloquently. How he was, saying that, he don't want to drown out his blackness, right, with white Americanism, right? So the Pseudo Killas probably for the most part understand that completely, because in the paragraph that we read, he said he wouldn't give up Africa because he know that his blackness has a message for the world, right? But he basically saying, and I wouldn't give up America because, America or the Western world has much to teach Africa also. So the African or the black, what the Pseudo Killas basically want is we want Africa to catch up with the Western world. We want the benefits of the Western science to permeate through Africa, right? We don't want the fetish, the backwards practices of Africa. We don't want to go back to that, right? We want Africa to move forward. I think that's the main thing that the Pseudo Killas is pushing for. We ain't saying we don't like Africa, but we saying that Africa needs to move forward, basically. And we think that most Africans want to move forward. We think that most Africans want the benefits, right, that African Americans is enjoying, right? Clean water. You don't think that Africans want water, distilled plants and to feed their cities? You don't think they want competent electrical grids, right? You don't think that they want internet? You don't think that they want healthy farms? And come on. You know what I mean? The benefits of the Western world, right? I think everybody want it, whether you in China, you know what I mean? Whether you in Southeast Asia, whether you in the Eastern European bloc that's pretty much undeveloped when it comes to the rest of Western Europe. I'm talking about the Eastern Europe bloc. I'm saying that all people that live in South America, right? All people that's living in a more undeveloped place want the benefits of America and the Western world, because people want to live better, healthier lives. So I think the Pseudo Killas, we mainly push that. And if it comes across as being anti-African, then, maybe we can do a better job in explaining that. And I want to say this before I let Vance jump in. I think since we had the slavery conversation, I think, my sentiments towards Africa have changed a little bit, right? And I'm talking from a personal stance, right? I'm having a hard time reconciling Africa's culpability in the transatlantic slave trade, and me flat out, just loving Africa. Like I think I want to focus more on African Americans, right? And our unique tribe and circumstances. Not saying that I don't recognize that we originated from Africa, which I don't think that we can blame all of Africa or every African group or tribe for the transatlantic slave trade. But for the most part, I feel like Africa, whether it was their institutions, their people and their institutions, I feel like it failed us. And I'm talking specifically to the African American, right? Or the Africans that was caught up in the slave trade. I feel like African, and this is personal, this is not the pseudo killers, right? I'm saying for me personally, if y'all hear any sentiments that come from me personally, that sounds anti-African, I am a little annoyed with Africa because of the slave trade. It's a lot of things that I knew about the slave trade that I pushed off in the back of my mind. I definitely, blamed the white man for years, right? For the transatlantic slave trade, right? I gave him the sole blame for it. And I bigged Africa up, but then I had to be real with myself. And in being real with myself, I had to lay Africa's just due amount of blame that they deserve on them, right? I'm a firm believer in that everybody got to carry their own nuts, right? So Africa and the Africans got to carry their own nuts when it comes to the slave trade, right? We're not going to baby Africa anymore. Hold on, let me let Unc in because I'm on the rant. So
you were going in.
I know. I'm almost finished. What's going on, Unc?
What's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
Ain't nothing. Hold on, let me finish this thought. So a lot of my sentiments of late has been basically, hold on, let me switch this screen, yo. I still got this. I was reading from W.E.B. Du Bois, if you missed it, The Souls of Black Folk.
Oh yeah, I thought you read from the other guy too. You didn't?
Which one?
Oh, the one that Woodrow put up there, the crazy white guy.
Oh no, I ain't read that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh yeah, so my sentiments towards Africa lately has been my acceptance that Africa and African institutions, as far as its people and its systems, played a major role in the slave trade. I'm not blaming all of Africa, but I definitely feel some type of way. That's just me being real with myself. Like I said, for years, I've known a lot of the information, and I would always brush it off, and blame Europeans solely for the slave trade. And that was out of my love for Africa, right? I had a log in my eye, right? But over these last couple months, when we were arguing about it, and I give Unc and them credit for this, for my new understanding of it, right? They made me take a position that I usually wouldn't take, right? Just for argument's sake. And when I took that position, I couldn't deny it no more, right? I couldn't deny it because these were two black men arguing with each other, right? I wasn't arguing with a white person, and for the most part, we have an all-black audience. So I felt as though it was a family conversation, right? I feel like when we come on here, we're having family conversations. So we can be real with ourselves. Like, most of these conversations years ago, I wouldn't have had with a white person. I would have never admitted to a white person years ago that Africans played the role in the slave trade. Just my blackness wouldn't allow me to do that, right? I would have never gave white people an out like that. So if y'all felt as though I was giving white people an out by giving Africa its culpability, right, in the slave trade, I never was doing that. I felt as though we was having a family conversation. Now, if we can't be real amongst ourselves, then I don't know what to tell you. But That's where I'm at far as wise Africa. Like I said, I feel like W.E.B. Du Bois summed it up perfectly. With the two-ness, right? We want to be both African and American. We want to be black and American at the same time. We don't want our blackness to be spit upon. We don't want Africa to be spit upon, right? But we want to be African and we want to be American at the same time, because that's who we is, right? So I turn it back over to y'all. What's going on,
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying, but I read Chancellor Williams' work, yo. Yeah, Chancellor Williams don't cut no cards. Yeah, he don't cut no cards on that at all. So, you know, I just know when you tell history, you supposed to, you know, tell your side of the story. And I always give the example of the Hittites against the Egyptians. The Egyptians don't write the history talking about, yeah, yo, for real, they really beat us, they really have me. That ain't how you do it. Hittites don't say, yeah, the Egyptians, they really won it. No, both sides say they won. So when telling the story of slavery, yo, there's some points that as you tell history to motivate your people, you emphasize those points. You don't talk about the bad shit. That's how history is really told. People are disappointed because white people don't tell their story the way we want them to tell it. It's called history. I'm going to give it the example again. There's a document in the UN. It's the oldest such document, treaties, when two mutual powers write a treaties, right? They was waging war. Yeah, I'm saying they ended the war, yo, and they write the document, right? The goddamn document say two different things coming from each side. Well, why would that be? Because that's how history is told. If you look at Russian history, right? You look at Stalin, you know Stalin was a mass nut, right? But his people, they don't tell that story that way. Right? That's just how it goes. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying, Chef? I'm glad you come to the conclusion, however you did, and, you know, it is what it is. But I just wanted to make that point right there. Now, moving forward, the whole anti-African sentiment thing is a rouge. It's flim-flammery, bim-bammery at a all-time high. So the only thing we ever talked about was that the ancient cultures didn't understand the Big Bang. And no culture in particular. People dove at us for that statement. They didn't get nothing right, really? No, they didn't get nothing right. But that's okay. See, people don't hear that, but that's okay, right? They have an agenda to push Africa beyond its own means and bounds. I don't have that agenda. That's the same thing with Sarah Stupicetti does. He pushes Africa past where it could ever be. You don't have to do that. The 400,000 years of history clearly shows who the African was. Clear. So we don't have to listen to that document that Wuja presented, right? Because those Europeans coming to Africa were slap fucking idiots. They hadn't studied it, they just didn't know. But we're not in that position today, right? We clearly understand what's going on. We understood where they stood up at and where they fell at. And the good detail of that is in Chancellor Williams' work. He clearly shows where they stood up and where their ass fell down. That's why I always recommend everybody to read The Destruction of Black Civilization. Great issues in race, okay, from 4000 BCE to 2000 AD. He clearly tells you what happened. Nature played a role in our fall. The Europeans, Asians, Asiatics, and other invaders played part of our demise, and the African played a part of their own demise. And if anybody denies that, it's a bunch of fucking buffoonery. Simple as that. I'm gonna say it again. Chancellor Williams details 3 key factors in our fall. He didn't say white people did it, white people did it, white people did it. Never said that. He never said they didn't participate in slavery. He never said that. He gives you a intact detailing of what happened. Right? So Chef's not wrong in what he's saying because Chancellor says the same goddamn thing. I just get mad at Chef when he doesn't talk about the first portion. So it is what it is. But all that anti-African shit, let me put y'all down with something. I've watched Smash Rockwell's teach live. I've watched Smash Rockwell's teach, period. So for individuals who say, I don't know what the fuck he teach, it's bananas. Smash would never say that. Now, do I understand everything that Smash understands? No. Do I understand everything that Wuja understands? No. But I've been in this class, listening to him, okay, detailing information, walking me through certain things I needed to walk through, how the meta-ledger was deciphered, points I didn't have, right? So I've been hearing this man rock out for the last 5 years. Absolutely. On the phone, through the phone, between the phone, wherever you want to put it. I know what he teaches. Asar Hotep, the great Asar Hotep. I know what he teach. I know how he teach. I know what he's talking about. I know his strengths. I know his weaknesses. I understand. So if Asar say I don't understand, he made that up. I clearly understand. That goes for all the members that I'm a raw squad, from Dr. Oya Mayat, from the Hisi, right? Point blank. They know what I teach. So I can throw the slur. The atheists. They know I ain't believing none of that shit. And they know they gotta come way better than that. I am none of them niggas' students. I'm just not. We sit at the round table. It's a lot of things they know that I don't know. It's a lot of things that I know that they don't know. That's why we sit at the round table. So when Wuja and Asar say, I don't understand, that's a buzzword, trick word, let you know that they trying to trick you right after that. I'm gonna say it again. Whenever they say that I don't understand, I'm not talking about Shepard, I'm not talking about Corey, I ain't talking about y'all. But whenever them two say I don't understand, they're really saying we trying to trick y'all. Because I do understand. I'm just not buying it based off of scientific literacy. And see, that's why we fuck with scientific literacy over here. Because scientific literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans that come amongst you. On this particular subject, they're charlataning your motherfucking ass. I don't care what they say. Think about how up here everybody is on this conversation. The question is, why? Why? Watch this. This is clear. From day one, I simply said, no one understood the Big Bang. Only thing anybody else had to say was what Wuja claimed he said. He claimed it. Now I'm going to tell you why I say claim. He said, because he said, let me get this clear right now. No, they didn't understand it. No one made videos about Wuju. No one called Wuja anti-African. No one said Wuja didn't understand.
Hold on, Unc. They saying your TV, they can't really hear you.
Oh, that's impossible. That national championship game, we ain't nowhere in the world I can get through this. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see.
All right, he muted out. But what's going on, everybody? It's definitely they're definitely trying to call, basically insinuate that we're anti-African because we're just stating what the rest of the world is stating about primitive people. We saying that people in their primitive state, right, did not understand the Big Bang Theory. No matter what they say. So it don't matter whether you put it in Africa or you put it in Eastern Europe, right? Or you put it in Central America, right? Or whether you put it in Southeast Asia, wherever people are undeveloped at, right? There's no way they could have knew about the Big Bang Theory. Like it did. They didn't. So I feel like
I'm good.
Yeah, you sound better. Go ahead.
Hey, man, you ain't hear none of that, huh? I'm saying from day one, I made the statement that no ancient civilization understood the Big Bang. I said that on purpose to make sure I included everybody. The goddamn Greeks to the goddamn Romans to the Persians to the Native Americans in South America, North America, Central goddamn America, which is Mesoamerica. Not in Australia, not in the British Isles, Britannica, not in Rome, right? Not in France. Before it was France, no goddamn way. I said that. So I'll be expecting the Native Americans to dive out the window saying the same thing. And guess what? They have contacted with that bullshit. Everybody contacted with that bullshit. See, this is what y'all don't know. It's all bullshit. See, this is what they don't want you to have. They don't want you to have scientific literacy. See, once you got scientific literacy, then everybody get put in their fucking place. See? Ain't no acting like you could do some shit you really couldn't do. Ain't nobody greater than nobody else. See, with scientific literacy, you put humanity exactly where it needs to be in its proper perspective. All the racism shit get thrown out the window. Everything that you thought was going to go down, it don't go down. See, you can't say that Homo sapiens sapien didn't arise in Africa because of your racism. You can't say there are 3 different races. Some said it was 5 different races. Some said it was 15 to 20 different races. Some said it was 3 races and they used that to promote the slave trade. You can't say that. See, scientific literacy doesn't allow that. Oh, the Dogon seen a certain star. Which one? That? No, you can't say it's scientific literacy. We no longer have to be mystified. Oh, the water really wasn't the water. The water was really some dissociated matter. Oh, scientific literacy knocks that off. Oh, it was just a metaphor. Oh, Corey, you do not understand figurative speech. He doesn't have to understand figurative speech. He just has to understand scientific literacy. This is the part. This is where the road splits. You can either keep going down the road of scientific literacy or you can dive off into your cultural bias. See, I love Africa. I love Africa so much that I want Africa to have what I got. I want the little girl in the Congo and the little brother in Ethiopia to be able to go to high-level schools, nursery schools, kindergarten,
and not get circumcised.
Middle school. You funny. Because of being illiterate to that particular idea right there, bro. Because see, that's barbaric. Anyway, I want for them kids, right, that my kids got. I want them to take scientific literacy back to their village, back to their township, back to their cities. This is the only way Africa will ever be able to compete. But if you keep giving them the same rituals that they had, what do you think they're going to be? The African American will fight for Africa harder than Africa is fighting for itself. Africa don't want the old traditions no more. All you got to do is look it up. Look it up. More people practice Islam or more people practice Christianity when they practice their own tradition. Am I making this up? More people mix it in. They mix it in. All that. Think about what I'm saying right now. Does that mean that I don't love Africa? No, I want for Africa what I got. Let me help y'all out. When you start to look at around 2800 BCE or 3000 BCE, you'll find the Egyptians burying their subjects when the pharaoh or dignitary died. That's human sacrifice. This is in Africa. You'll find the Kushite kings doing the exact same thing. This is human sacrifice. Now, me saying it, does that make me anti-African? No. That means I'm trying to show you something. They had the old ancient religions when that was part of their rituals, their customs and their traditions. The damn Vikings did the same thing. They wanted to go to Valhalla. And before battles, it was a person would volunteer to get sacrificed. So I'm not the one to say that those subjects did not volunteer to go, but they came. They well within their rights as functioning human beings. The Vikings did it, and the Nubians did it, and the Egyptians did it. That doesn't make me anti-African. To stand up here and say they didn't do it is anti-African, because it's supposed to be based off of character. So we know that the Africans had some of the oldest custom and traditions and rituals on planet Earth, right? Because they resided in Africa 400,000 years prior to any mutations occurring outside of Africa. And we call that a founder event, where a population, a piece of a population leaves out of a place and founds a new population without going back into the old gene pool. That's called a founder event or genetic drift. So we got 400,000 years, 350,000 to be precisely. The dates are constantly moving based off new available information of Africans being the masters of being a human. And their survivability was on high, unprecedented. There's no denying that. Read the 9-volume set UNESCO. It tells you that. Book 1, Book 2, Book 3, Book 4, Book 5, Book 7, 8, 9. It's there. They tell you. They go as far as saying the first 2 million years, it led the Earth in technological advances, early tools. Homo erectus was African. Before it left Africa, it was African. Homo ergaster was African before it left Africa. Australopithecus afrocensis is African. Lucy, she's on the Rift Valley. She's African. Ethiopia, African. So Homo sapiens sapiens ain't the only Africans in Africa. They led the way. As they leave the Green Sahara, they built great civilizations along the Nile. They built great civilizations in West Africa. No one denies that. On par with everybody during that time. It was the races of white supremacy that act like that they wasn't on par. Then changes start to occur. You start to be pushed away from the rest of the world. Chancellor talks about this. If you ever grew up with some homeboys and y'all get about 20 and you leave the neighborhood, you leave the corner, and you come back 10 years later and they still there, you be like, damn, them niggas ain't grew an inch. That's what happened to Africa. They got left behind. They got old. That's okay. The Chicago Bulls got old. They broke the team up. That's okay. The Lakers, after winning 6 championships, 5 championships, they got old. That's okay. It's part of what happens in the world we live in. Why are you doing what you're doing? Somebody else is doing something else. That's okay. Remember, it's diversity. Diversity that pushes planet Earth. Diversity and understanding other people's technologies. The fucking Egyptians, they got the chariot from who? From the Hittites. They modified. Y'all talking shit about that? They took a foreign entity with a chariot with 4 wheels and modified it to 2 wheels with armor, which carried 2 people. One could shoot. The Hittite chariot couldn't shoot for the motherfucker because it was too rocky. Shit was moving all crazy. They added what? Shock absorbers, right? And some armor, okay? And they was picking your ass off while the shit was moving. So they took other people's shit and modified it. The same thing the United States did. It's not a bad thing. They took the best scientists from around the world, in particularly German. They took their great minds to build their science. Nobody argues that. But Lord knows, don't let the pseudo killers, introduce everybody to the shit that's going around the world. All of a sudden, we anti-African. You see the trick they play? You see the games everybody is playing? No, I'm not anti-African. I want for Africa what I got for myself and my babies. I'm gonna end it right there and let somebody else jump on that, yo. I see you in the building, Cedric. I can't hear you, but I see you.
Peace, family, peace, family, peace, family, peace, Unc. How you doing?
Just being my old anti-African self, because I'm sounding
well, if being, you know who's anti-African? Anyone keeping Africa back in the Stone Ages. When us pro-Africans speak in terms of Africa in a historical context of what they used to be and never refer to what Africa is, the universities, the great cities, the developments that is happening on the continent. When we don't refer to Africa or the continent, I'm going to stop saying Africa, the continent in its proper context, in its rightful place in today's society, we are doing the continent an injustice. Because what the image we're creating is as if these people still walk around believing there was a fiery bang and then it cooled and all of a sudden the earth was here, and that we're in the fourth stage of development. Now, when we on this side of the planet refer to the continent consistently in a context which is then we are the ones doing Africa injustice. So those are the people that are anti-African. I am an example of what an African is. I am scientifically literate. I'm looking forward. I'm looking to the stars. I'm under the microscope. And Kulu Kulu is something that my people did. I appreciate it, but it's not something that is valuable and relevant to the 21st century that we're in. So we're not anti-African.
It's a great point, Cedric.
They keep moving the goalposts. We're simply saying, and I'm going to repeat, why are we having a discussion with people who obviously don't understand the subject? I sit and listen to Concrete Corey break it down. Then I come on and I say, okay, I understood it. Now let's look at the story that the cosmology that was before the advent of modern science. It's a beautiful story. I love listening to it. But from the time you start to equate it to Neil deGrasse Tyson and Krauss, there's where you cross the line. It's just that simple. Why is that so hard to understand? Are we crazy? Am I crazy? Like, what makes me anti-African by saying, wait a minute, stop. You can't do that.
Stop sign.
Stop sign. Wait. Hold up. Wait. No, Asa. No, Reggie. The African concept was not a scientific model that had a prediction that said in the future, these people are going to find the Higgs boson. Or in the future, we're going to find cat. There is no scientific prediction there. It's a story.
Yeah,
it's
man.
A beautiful story. Do not equate the two, Asa. You're wrong. And trying to belittle the pseudo killers that we just don't understand. No, we don't fall for the flim flam. But don't try to pass that one, slip that one in there. Now we are able to look back and see that they were actually, no, they didn't make a scientific prediction. They didn't have a model. They had a story.
Yep.
That's it. That conversation is over. If that makes me anti-African, because you guys insist on making people believe that Africans are walking around in the bush with spears looking up at the stars, then you're the one that is anti-African, not me. Because Africans have developed along with the rest of the world equally. So you talk to a space age African and tell him about that story, he'll laugh at you. You believe you what? So you're telling me there's no African, no Ghanaian that's an astrophysicist? None. So all of them, the astrophysicists, they use that traditional story when they're developing their scientific models. Really? That really? Who's anti-African here? Who's making the African seem as if his mind can't develop beyond what was?
It's not true.
That's not me.
It's not true, Cedric. Right now, yo, you got Africans participating like they always would have.
Exactly. That's my point. We are dredging up stories of tradition, and when the Ghanaian scientist hears this and he says, you guys actually think that is scientific and we still believe that? My PhD didn't have nothing to do with Kulu Kulu and a big fire and a cooling. It had nothing to do with that. So how are you in the West now making that equation when it's scientifically unjustified, unqualified, and simply, again, Corey's been saying it, you've been saying it, you are doing the Africans an injustice. Now you are bringing a story into the realm of science, and we are forced to apply the scientific rigor to it, and it's gonna come up wanting. You guys are creating that. Nobody over here.
No, we're not doing it. So when I say the Bantoon only had predictable predictions, that's all they had, predictable predictions. When I say the Egyptians only had predictable predictions, that's all they had was predictable predictions. What they didn't have was they didn't have a prediction of something that never happened before.
They didn't have predictions.
Science has predictive power. It predicts things. That's the power of science. That's the difference right there. Not an event that occurs on regular occurrences, right? Yeah, and you have to know all to build a megalith and track that. That's not what we're saying. We're gonna give you the gold standard for that. But when you can predict something that never happened before, that's a bad motherfucker. See, that's what we're talking about. Charles Darwin, right? If you actually, no, go ahead. This is what I'm gonna do. Keep talking, Cedric. I'm gonna show y'all some slick shit. I'm gonna show you why they gave Charles Darwin the father of evolution, right? And not the Egyptians or not the Greeks, who also talked about evolution. And Al-Jahid, he also spoke about evolution, right? But I'm gonna show you what separated Charles Darwin, and we're gonna go to the great work of John Jackson. But go ahead, because I'm gonna pull it up. Go ahead, Cedric.
What I'm saying is what the Africans were able to accomplish, not only the Africans, all peoples all over the world. They pioneered forecasting. They understood how the cycles of our planet function. So they were able to track the stars. They were able to track the sun and the moon. They understood the solstices. And they had predictive power by means of forecasting, not a scientific prediction. There was nothing that says in 2022, we're going to find the Higgs boson and then and heck is going to be established, because now we don't have the technology to prove it. They didn't have that. What they have is forecasting. They were able to make predictions. Okay, in 2 months' time, the river's going to flood, so we need to start preparing. That's forecasting. That's not scientific predictions. Come
Yeah,
on,
predictable
these guys
prediction.
gotta know better.
Meaning it was already occurring, yo.
Exactly.
And all you gotta do is be around long enough to see it occur over and over again, and then you can make a predictable prediction off of that.
There you go. It's two different things. That's not a scientific prediction.
That's not a scientific prediction. It's a theory. That's why it's called the theory of evolution. Okay, man, God. So if I go to John G. Jackson work, Man, God, and Civilization. Go to chapter 3. Hold on. See if I can go there. Hold on. Chapter 1. What is chapter 3? I'll go to chapter 3 for y'all. The factors. Damn. Hold on. Chapter 3. Ice Age and Man. All right. And they go on, they say the popular opinion that Charles Darwin was the inventor of evolution. The doctrine of evolution is false. I won't read that. Right? So when I taught that, I was teaching from John Jackson. That was a fact. Because it was other people that talked about it, like I said. But this is what separated Darwin from everybody else. Hold on. It says in 1871, Darwin's Descent of Man was published. And in this book, impressive evidence was adduced, tending to show that man and the anthropoid apes could be traced back to a common ancestor. Most of Darwin's contemporaries judged the continent of Asia, okay, to be most likely the birthplace of humanity. I want to stop right there for a minute. Okay, so the Egyptians didn't know where the hell man came from. They only knew what they thought their tribe came from. They didn't even know that they came from the damn desert. The Bantu didn't know where the hell they came from. Each clan was talking about their clan. The Hebrews didn't know where the hell they came from. See, we think there was cell phones and all that. It was none of that. They just didn't know. And they sure as hell didn't know where humanity came from in the 1800s. I'm going to say in the 1800s, the Europeans thought we came from the goddamn Bible and the Garden of Eden. Bishop Ussher in the 1600s wrote a treatise on where the Garden of Eden, right? Man was created in the Garden of Eden at July 24th at 9 o'clock in the goddamn morning. And they all believed it up to the 1800s until Charles Darwin. Okay? And a couple of other scientists. Let me see. What's the other scientist? Albert Churchward. So you got Albert Churchward and Charles Darwin. So let me pick up. Most of Darwin's contemporaries judged the continent of Asia, right, to be most likely the birthplace of humanity when they was talking shit. But Darwin held that Africa had a better claim to the title of the cradle of mankind. So this was the discussion in 1871. Watch this, we are naturally led to inquire. He asserted, where was the birthplace of man? No ancient tribes knew. We are naturally led to inquire, he asserted, where was the birthplace of man? In each great region of the world, the living mammals are closely related to extinct species of that same region. Watch this. It is therefore probable that Africa was formerly inhabited by extinct apes, closely aligned to the gorilla. 29. Chimpanzees, let me say this again, inhabited by extinct apes closely aligned to the gorilla and chimpanzees. And watch this, and as these two species are now man's nearest allies, it is somewhat more probable, here's the prediction, that our predecessors lived on the African continent than elsewhere. See the prediction?
Scientific prediction.
See the prediction.
There you go.
Egyptians didn't do it, couldn't have did it. The Britannica and ancient Britannicans, they couldn't, the ancient Britons couldn't do it. The Franks couldn't do it. The Roman Empire couldn't do it. The Greeks couldn't do it. The Persians couldn't do it. The Australians couldn't do it. The Native Americans, the Mesoamericans, they didn't do it. They all thought in 1871 that they came from their clan and their tribe. The Europeans thought that we came from the fucking Garden of Eden, which is in Asia. The racist white supremacy said that we came from Piltdown Man some motherfucking way. This is what I'm talking about, but yet I get pushed back. I am fucking confused at this point, and I can no longer do it. I love Africa too much. Watch this. Even in the early years of the present century, scientists investigating the prehistoric eras were inclined to look chiefly to Asia as the original home of man. But in the year 1921, this position was strikingly challenged by the publication of the origin and evolution of the human race. Hold on, let me read this up. They still, look, man, even after Darwin wrote his book, they still talking shit. Watch this. In 1921, this position was strikingly challenged by the publication of the origin and evolution of the human race by Albert Churchwood. That's why John Henry Clark writes the foreword in the rewrite of the damn book. They was pushing us here to understand this, so they wanted us to have this conversation like we're having right now. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben and them, no matter how much shit they got wrong, they knew the scientific literacy was the way for us to go. It said the distinguished medical man held membership both in the Royal Council of Physicians and the Royal Council of Surgeons. And besides this, he was an anthropologist and archaeologist. It said the earliest members of the human race appeared in the interior of the African continent about 2 million years ago. Churchwood claimed. Then from that region, the Great Lakes, they spread over the entire continent. I ain't gotta keep going back into all that shit. And he talks about how Egypt was settled and all that. So, you know, for real, I don't gotta beat a dead horse because the fucking horse is dead. Y'all just don't know it. Science is undefeated. You can only defeat science with better science. Not a myth, not philosophy, not worldview, with science. And in saying that doesn't take away from African worldview. And saying that doesn't make me anti-African. It makes me scientifically literate, and I know when I'm being faked out, and I know when I'm being flim-flam. Get with the goddamn program.
I love to hear the stories. I love to hear the teaching. You know, when I tune out, when we start to add our perspective to it, just give me the story. Give me the story. Let me know the history. That's it. It's all good. But when we start to do these analyses and try to equate and fit and do all of this stuff, the blackology stuff, there's when I shut off. Because this discussion we're having is so primitive. Do you hear the Europeans discussing their ancient Greek, their Norse mythology? Do the Norwegians walk around saying they had some aspects of creation correct in their story? Do you hear South Americans do that? The Aztecs and the Incas and the Mayas had the most elaborate cosmology that you could ever imagine. Do you ever hear this conversation happening and these equations happening from a scientific point of view out of these environments? No, because science ends that discussion. When I start to hear people referring to Western science, then I got to pull the stop sign again. Western science is NaCl, salt, kitchen salt. Is that element different anywhere on the planet? Is sodium chloride any different in Africa? What do they use? Calcium chloride for salt?
Yeah, the melanin jump on it. In Africa, the
melanated salt. They use the melanated salt. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So I'm confused. Then I'm wrong. So there is African science, there is Chinese science, and there's American science or European science. I am really confused. Because according to me, science is science.
You know what's ironic though? You know what's ironic, Cedric? What's ironic is that scientists will give due credit. That's what's ironic. They'll say, hey man, the Egyptians.
Yeah. Yes.
Egyptians. Right? Did this first. The crucible, the Egyptians, medicine. I am Hotep is the father of medicine. Yo, like as we playing, you can look it up. Not the Greek, but I am Hotep. And nobody argues that. What you don't hear them say is the Egyptians was the fathers of the Big Bang. They don't. You know why? Because it's not true.
No, they weren't. They simply weren't. You could not talk about a Big Bang before you had a microscope, because you couldn't have a telescope before you develop a microscope. So you couldn't ask certain questions. What I've been thinking today is how science and technology are symbiotic. Science produces technology, and with that technology, you further the science, which produces new technology, which further the science again. So you cannot get to third base if you haven't passed first. There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, you couldn't have did it.
You couldn't have did it. You couldn't have asked those questions. You simply couldn't.
Yeah, you only got
the technology to be able to reach to a point that those questions could be asked. This is what people fail to understand. You could not look up in the sky and contemplate a Big Bang. You wasn't seeing things move away from you.
See, they act like I don't love cosmology stories, bro. I read cosmology stories from around the world, yo. I have a fascination with it. I got dictionary 2,500 gods around the world. Like, I enjoy that. Like, that's what I do. I'm the God killer, right? So you're gonna be the God killer, you gotta read it.
You gotta read the gods to be the God killer.
You can't just read the African shit, because then you start having cultural bias. Because I think that the African cosmology stories are the best. But that's my cultural bias. And see, I recognize that through my scientific literacy. See?
Facts. Same here. That's why I was able to recognize my Blackology one time, when I was one of those that said, no, the Africans didn't participate in the slave trade. They had no role in it. They were invaded and they were captured. End of story. Now, being scientifically literate, when I get the nuance of the story, I could put things in context and put it to rest and say I was wrong, and understand the politics of the time and say, yo, it made sense that they were involved. End of story.
It's that simple.
I can move on. I have grown. I can put things in proper context and grow. I'm not going to go completely 180, but I put the blackology in myself to rest based on information. That's it.
But I don't even mind having some black algae in me, dog. See, that's the point where everybody don't get. But I know what it is, though.
Yeah. Egyptians are still black for me. End of discussion. I don't want to hear Chevron say nothing.
Right, I don't want that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't look at the DNA tell the person.
Yeah, I'll let y'all have that.
Yeah, let us have that, dog.
Let me have that.
I'll let y'all have y'all delusion, yo.
Yeah, all right, it's delusional.
Let me have it. I know I'm delusional. I believe I can fly. I'm not going to put it to the test. Just let me have it.
No, the reason why I do have it is because the reason why I let y'all have it at this point is because of scientific literacy. And I know there's no such thing as race. So at that point, I just back off. You know what I mean?
Conversation neutralized based on the science. We reached to the point that we understand there's no race, there's only culture. Conversation over.
Shit, don't get me started. Anyway, man, I don't want to drag the conversation out. I just want to say, man, you know, like I spent like my whole career, right? Volunteering. This is volunteering for me. You know, like it's other shit I could definitely be doing. We volunteers here, yo, and so I see the whole thing. See, everybody underestimate what the fuck I see. I see it. I smell it. I see it before you see it. I could just see it. So I'm saying is I seen a need for the whole community to continue to grow, right? And to grow to the point where if you're in America as an African American, damn, yo, shouldn't you take care of your community first? We shooting each other down like dogs in the street. We can't even listen to good hip hop, right? Without somebody getting shot in the fucking street based off of that. It's the most ridiculous thing. Our community is in trouble. Although I might love Africa, I don't love Africa more than my own community. And guess why I don't love Africa more than my own community? Because if I don't help fix my community, my kids growing up in that community will end up falling prey to that. It's not confusing. You got to fix your own shit before you can fix somebody else's house.
And without scientific literacy, without education, scientific literacy is the ability to make decisions, everyday decisions to function in a society. Like, if you take that out of people's ability to reason, then they cannot make decisions, everyday decisions that are best for them nor their community. And we're seeing that. Like, we are actually seeing that quote or the definition of scientific literacy play out in front of our eyes. The inability to make the right decisions in our community. From the vaccine to the music, to our behavior, to everything. We're the only community in the world that would celebrate an athlete over a scientist. That we don't know the name of the lady that played a crucial role in developing the vaccines, but everybody knows that Kyrie Irving is an anti-vaxxer, and we listen to him. Like, only in our community. Like, be honest. Like, let's be honest here. We're the only people that you hear about the celebrities more than the scientists. The string theory was calculated by a Black scientist. How many of us know that? I can't even bring his name right now. But everybody know that what's her name? The Trinidad chick that lives in the States. The Trini girl was lying about her cousin and whatnot, and everybody was running with that story that the Pseudo Killas had to dedicate an episode to debunking a female hip hop artist. Like, really?
What's her name? The one that
Not
lied
Cardi
in
B,
not
next
Cardi
one.
B, the other one.
Oh man, the dolly looking one. You see, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you. She fell off the face of the earth. What the hell is her name?
Who? What?
What's the girl name?
Oh man,
The New York rapper chick. Not Cardi B, the one that came before Cardi B.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, CK, what's the girl name? CK gone?
No, this ain't paying no damn attention.
Okay. Yeah, you see that? Grown men here, we don't know that stuff.
Ngozi was here. Ngozi, where you go at, Ngozi?
Well, what's her name? Oh shit.
God damn, she sang Anaconda.
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj. Like, we had to dedicate a show to debunking Nicki Minaj. Like, really? like this is oh man. Like, this is the state of our community. Let's be honest. And then when we try to educate our people, we have to be battling on our own house when we got top people in our community giving you the flim flam on scientific literacy and what a scientific hypothesis is. Come on. Like, come on. There is no way Asar is gonna sit on a panel with the Pseudo Killas and try to convince anybody on the Pseudo Killas that the Africans, whichever one, had a hypothesis, a scientific hypothesis and a theory with predictions.
We ain't going for it.
Hell out of here.
We ain't going for it, man.
You damage your credibility trying to win an argument.
It's a crazy argument. No need to argue.
There is no argument.
There's no argument.
Now, he starts off by saying he's not trying to do post hoc rationalization, and halfway in his conversation does exactly that.
Man, I gotta look that up. What the hell is it? You keep saying it 100 times. Where did that?
A scientific theory, like
post hoc.
No, I'm gonna explain what it is. I'm gonna explain like this. Like, you explain why Darwin is the father of evolution. Now, some other dude comes up and he creates a whole nice story and includes Africa in it with his nice story. That's post hoc, because the first person that did it, that had the hypothesis, that had the prediction, was Charles Darwin. So anyone that comes after making a claim that there was a story that said that Africa was the birthplace is using post hoc rationalization. He's fitting his narrative into.
That's a logical fallacy. It's a logical fallacy.
And they're doing it, from jump. Before they start, I told them that's what they're going to do, and they did exactly that. There is no scientific prediction from an African that talks about a big bang, that expansion of the universe. There isn't. So now let's go look at the story. Anytime you use big bang in your explanation, your post hoc rationalization, because the Africans didn't use the term, they didn't have the definition, they didn't have that reasoning. So your argument is mute before you begin it.
Hit him with the post hoc. Post hoc.
Like I said, when you study philosophy and logical fallacies, go back and look at Chani's video. She breaks it all down, and these guys are making the false equivocations. They're doing post-hoc rationalization. They're doing false dichotomies. They're doing it all. All. I'm sitting there listening, going, okay, logical fallacy. Nope, false dichotomy. Oh, no post-hoc rationalization. No, you can't do that. That's a false equivocation. You're saying the African concept. You're going over, you're reading the scientific definition, then you're coming and you're making the leap between the two without ever having an actual scientific link. You can't do that. You're crossing borders. You're taking a guess, an idea, and you're trying to make that idea into a scientific a theory and model with predictions in it by saying we are now discovering what the Africans already thought. No, where did the Africans say in 2022 we're going to discover the Higgs boson and we're going to understand wave particles and they're going to be identified in this and this and this area, and that and this we should see this and this and this. There is no scientific predictions in any of those cosmological stories. They are stories. That's it. We cannot equate them or talk about them in the scientific realm at all. We're doing those people an injustice by means of logical fallacies and in illogical reasoning. I've been saying it from the beginning, like why are we having this discussion? Like, no, like we can't do that. Like, it's not necessary. Don't do it. Like, no, you're doing the Bible stuff. You're doing the Muslim stuff. Like, I've heard a Muslim apologist say that the Quran knew that alcohol would cause neonatal illnesses and birth defects. That's why the Quran banned it. Therefore, the Quran is a scientific book.
Hey, what's the book we all say get, yo, Chef? It was
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh, come on, God damn. He said it was the in the chat room, somebody that was listening to the show earlier. What did they say?
It was some James P. Allen. Hold on.
Hey, yo, just Antonio Brown crazy as shit. He said the Bucks use surprise attack doctors. Appointment to justify. I fuck with him, yo. Be on some extra shit. He say Antonio Brown's attorney said the Buccaneers use surprise attack doctor's appointment to justify release. Yeah, NFL be playing games like a motherfucker, yo. He just take off his shirt and make the shit look so wild. He just wild out. Yeah, it was like, yo, you need to be playing. Like, what, nigga, I quit. I'm tell you what, shut up. Can't go, coach. He's like, I ain't going for it. Ankle fucked up. Crazy. Yo, that's funny, yo. Antonio's like, no. But he crazy like that glue, though. Anybody felt what the book was?
Yeah. Hold on.
All right. Buy that.
What y'all talking about?
You know we talking about CK.
No, I don't.
Come on, CK. You been on the rock?
She had that.
I mean, it depends. Can you be more specific?
She was on the kill streak.
Oh shit! What the Egyptians, what the Africans understood about the cosmos, and what modern science understands. Come on, We simply made the statement that no ancient population of human beings understood the Big Bang. Wuja comes right behind us and say no ancient population understand the Big Bang, and then try to explain how they did. I'm fucking confused.
I mean, that's what people do.
Just that damn.
Now, this is how I would agree with them if and only if it was phrased in this way. Like, let's just say, for an example, like if we had like a Wikipedia article, and in that Wikipedia article on the Big Bang, they talked about what a lot of other cultures believed before we got to the Big Bang. You know, not just Africa, but hey, like what did the Native Americans think? What did the Europeans think? You know, before, you know, modern science. I see nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because that's what people thought. That's what they believed at the time. They didn't really have any evidence for it. But to sit there and try to say that, hey, you know, this is similar to, you know, stuff that actually can be proven with evidence today, like we might be reaching a bit.
A bit. Yeah, just a bit.
You know what I mean? But to charge the whole pseudo kills, we don't all agree. We ain't all on 100% on the same page, so they need to calm down with that.
We all on the same page on this one.
We're on the same page, Justin, y'all.
Yeah, we on the same page.
Ain't no way they can get.
That's what I just said. It depends on how it's phrased. But to say that we're anti-African because someone says that, hey, this is what a group of people believed at a particular time, and then we're saying that, hey, you know, like this isn't science. This is just their belief. This is just an assumption. You know, that's not fair. You know, because if you put, you know, the Native Americans' cosmology in front of us, and we read it right here on the panel, all of us would say the same exact thing. We would say, hey, you know, this is what they believe. This is what they thought at the time, you know, but it's still not science.
Right.
The problem is when you start mixing people's philosophical beliefs with things that actually can be proven with evidence, that's when we finna run into problems. And I think if people just realize that these two things are separate and stop trying to combine these two things, you will have less problems and less confusion too on top of that.
We wouldn't have even had a show about it.
This is how I probably would agree that we might be anti-African though. When we allow certain individuals like Chief X on the panel who have constantly disrespected people of this group and other groups that we're affiliated with, but he keeps constantly being allowed on our platform. But people that have never done that, but actually been supporters of us, like Sister Kaba, gets kicked off the panel for simply just reading the passage. But I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you think about that, Brother Shefflin?
CK, you ain't shit.
I mean, you should have known I was going to come for you.
That's the only reason you came on the panel. You was playing.
I'm going to mute my mic and watch
it. I got to mute my mic. I'm muted.
Look, she don't care about Africa or what we talking about. You the problem.
I mean, y'all are still my brothers, but you need to rectify that situation. So.
What do y'all want me to do? What could I possibly
What
do?
human beings do when they do things that they should not have done to begin with and show questionable flipping behavior? Right. They correct that. They hopefully don't do that in the future. Lady. You apologize, sir?
On the phone. I talked to her on the phone.
Okay. If I find out otherwise, I'll be coming back for you.
Hold on. What do I got? What do I got to kill a baby calf? I got to kill.
You have to make a human sacrifice, right. Or you have to rub the sacred crystals, pray to Yeshua. You know
I gotta kill a bull.
You gotta at least do what you said you was going to do.
Listen, I gotta kill a bull. You feel me? For y'all to let that shit go? Is y'all crazy?
Well, hey, I wasn't aware that you already apologized.
Y'all didn't did worse shit than I didn't did.
Really?
I'm sure y'all
please name one thing that any of us have done that was worse. I would love to fucking hear that shit.
I'm sure y'all have. Like, please, but y'all will never admit it. You feel me? One. And I don't feel that bad because I've done way worse shit in my life than to kick somebody off of a Zoom. So for y'all, if y'all knew the type
You did
shit
worse
I've
than
done,
that, Chef. You kicked her
yes.
off. Then you joked about it in the chat. And
Oh,
then
I've done way worse than that in my life. That's not even something to even
that
feel.
people actually know about.
Yeah, that's not something that I could actually. So I'm trying to get to y'all sentiment.
This one, Mac. Sister Kaba has followed me from day one and been my supporter when the nuts been against me, yo. She been right there for me.
I thought she was trolling.
Right, but my point is, let me finish my point.
What would make you think that she was trolling?
Let me finish my point. I can't yell this. I'm telling you. I mean, she's a friend of all our podcasts from day one.
And I'm with her.
She done took unnecessary heat from the Negroes. And the last thing she expects is to come on a show that I'm on and a part of and get kicked off. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all. So first of all, it's not right. It's downright embarrassing. And it was a mistake. This shouldn't happen. Okay. And it was friendly fire. And I mean, maybe you thought that she was coming to back raw born. I don't know how it was, or if you thought she was, I don't know. Only you know. I know we all got on the phone. I know that did occur. Right?
So send her the link and let her come on, and I will apologize to Sister Kava on the live on the channel that I hit the kick call. I will apologize to her right here. So if y'all don't believe she was apologized to, if I kicked her off on a live show, I can apologize to her on the live show. So send her the link. It don't have to be a private apology. If I did something in public, I can apologize in public. So if she want to come on, I will apologize to her. And Sister Kaba, if you listening, I'm sending you some money to your Cash App for you to enjoy lunch on me on behalf of the Pseudo Killas channel. I'm saying it live so everybody heard it. Lunch on me for me cutting your wisdom when you was building. I heard you was actually defending our viewpoint, what you was reading. I couldn't hear it. I don't know what I was doing. So
now, before anybody continues, I gonna just say this. If anybody thinks the Pseudo Killas are anti-African, we always say the woman first. Chani come on the chat, on the panel, and she's the only one who could have put Chef on any place. If all you don't understand that the black woman is God after that, and that we are African Senate, I don't want to hear nothing about it again.
Who you talking about?
CJ.
I'm saying Chani come on and put Chef in his place. And Chef had nothing to say. You know why? Because the black woman is God.
Don't get it twisted, man. I still love you, my brother Chefrin. But
I know.
Y'all start acting crazy. I'm gonna say some shit. I might not say it.
I'm kind of mad, CJ. I'm kind of mad. Ain't nobody lit no fake ass Chief X on this motherfucker. As soon as I got one, that nigga get kicked off immediately. So let's get that straight.
I was using it as an example, sir. I just felt like
when as a nigga,
you don't have people on the panel that's been like super disrespectful, and we just kept letting those type of people on the panel.
I never
comes on and reads a passage. She gets part way in, gets kicked off and blocked from coming back on the panel.
And she ain't getting no. I don't know about all that. That shit went.
Yeah, that was
the
red flag to me.
Look, it was late. Listen, it was late, and I just was clicking shit.
I know.
This guy.
I heard that shit was on the screen. I ain't even go back.
But if you say you apologize, I will let it go.
I did, but like I said, you can send her the link. She come on. I can publicly apologize to her, and I will publicly send her lunch money to wherever she want to get lunch at. Tomorrow is on me on behalf of the Pseudo Killas, cutting her wisdom. So,
all right, we're gonna check on that too. We're gonna go back live tomorrow and make sure she got that.
But I do have a question that is back on topic.
Rona.
No, not Rona. But I'm just confused as to how this whole like back and forth craziness even started. Because I know I'd be MIA half the time. And then sometimes y'all be having conversations on other people's platforms that I may not support for various reasons. So I'm confused because when I saw the very first like kind of thing that Sean was kind of reading, I was confused that entire live stream. I was like, what the hell are we talking about? Like, I didn't even know. Like, I just kept like asking like logical fallacy questions because I just was like confused, like trying to get like, what are we talking about? Like, CK ain't nobody saying that. Well, like, I'm confused. Like, that's why I'm asking you these like far out questions that is not what you're saying. Like, I don't even know what you're saying. But you can't say one thing, then say the direct opposite, and then lie later on and say that you didn't say the direct opposite. Because I want to be on their side. Let me keep it 100. I want to be on their side, but I'm sorry, like you can't. You can't force people's
Not with
belief
this.
systems. You can't force people's belief systems into science, man.
No,
and guess
you
what?
can't.
If somebody in Rome was trying to do that with their little Roman gods and their little beliefs, we would be daggering them the fuck up too. If some Asian mother flowers come up on here with they Buddhist, whatever,
Bloodbath.
Taoism, whatever, and try to do the same thing, they finna get the same treatment. And I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to Africa, we do have a tendency, even myself, I throw myself under the bus. I do give Africa like a grain of rice of a pass. But if you go too far, if you go too crazy with it, like they will get the same exact treatment that I would give towards any of these other belief systems. I don't have to call it Abrahamic. I don't have to throw it in any of these random categories. And actually, while it's on my mind, there was one thing I wanted to ask you, or actually bring up and then ask you. I found it very conflicting, and I'm just gonna call it like it is, hypocritical, that Mother Flowers were accusing you and Sheffrin of using white supremacy terms and using, I guess you could say, I don't know, Western ideology or whatever. I mean, not white supremacy terms, my bad. Western ideology or Western terms. But then they turned around and used Western terms to explain like everything they were explaining. Like that was just like I I said, I was confused that entire live stream. I'm like, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, Shannon. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when there is so much writing on the scientific credibility of certain people. I couldn't believe the logical fallacies. Then you're not equating, but then you're referring to modern science. You're using these scientists' name without ever showing any evidence where they themselves made that equation. So it's crazy. Then you're not doing it, but then yes, look, modern science says this and they say that, but it's completely confusing. 1 minute it's their worldview, the next minute it's equating to science. Then that's not what you're doing, and still that's what you're doing.
It's like, yo, we are speaking English. You're literally trying to make it seem like y'all were like demonizing y'all for using English, and then turning around and using English. Demonizing y'all for using Western terms and Western ideology, then turning around and reading literature from a dude that backs their claim using Western terms and ideologies. I was just beyond. Like I was done. Like I couldn't even respond. I felt like I was like it felt like, I'm not gonna say that they pseudo, but it just felt like how I feel when I'm going up against pseudos. Just keep dropping stuff. And it's like doing contradictory stuff back and forth. And it's like, damn, like we can't even stay on topic here. Like, what's going on?
You know what was sad, Shani? That I actually went and looked up neutron soup. I heard it so much, I was convinced that was an actual term.
Neutron soup.
Hey, gotta eat.
So look, I'm gonna read what Sean had read.
Yeah, because I threw the books in the back chat. I found it. The books that Sean was saying, oh, y'all can't find these books. These books ain't on PDF. I found them shits immediately. I was like, what
Right.
the hell are you talking about? I don't
Easy.
found this book in
Easy.
PDF. Here y'all go.
Right.
And if
So
anybody
let
else wants any of them books, I can drop them exactly where they. Well, I don't know. I haven't read them yet to decide how pseudo they are, whether they need to go in the pseudo trash can or not. But we'll see. If anybody want it, I get to.
all right.
When
So
you,
let
when
me
you read the part about the Doglad, my question is, where did he get the flower from?
I'm about to read it. I'm about to read it now. All right, this is what Sean had read. This was started it is African cosmology of the Bantu Congo. And he read from the mapping of the universe. All right. For the Bantu people, the Congo in particular, the universe as we see and know it is the result of the primitive event that occurred in and around it, well known as the God cooked dough, the magmatic matters, the Big Bang. It is the result of an expanding fire process that leaves behind it, through a cooling process, satellites and planets. It is the process of the cosmic expanding fires. According to the Congo teachings, our planet Earth was the starting point of this fire in our solar system. On the ground of this old Bantu teaching, the universe can be mapped in three main layers or zones, depending if it is green, gray, or red. Green or breathing planet. Green or breathing planets are living planets because they have completed the four great formation stages of the Congo cosmogram, known as the Kinga de Congo. The key word to these planets is greenness, the vitality giving nature. Green planets, like our own planet Earth, can be thought of as the oldest planets to our solar systems. The Earth, for example, can be seen for the Bantu people as the oldest planet of the solar system. Green planets occupy the center of the systems in our expanding universe. The expanding creative fire energy that departed from the first event or the Big Bang was not an experimental explosion from a laboratory, say the Bantu Congo. It was a natural, call it divine, imperative order to bring a transformation process into being throughout the universe and into all its planets until their full maturity, i.e., be able to breathe and give life and give care, carry, to give carry or carry life. I guess that's what he's trying to say. To our present knowledge, our planet, the Earth, is the only planet known that has so far fulfilled this order. It is green or breathes and does not only give life, but is able to sustain it up into now as well. And then B, gray planets. Gray planets are planets without life yet. They are without life yet because these planets are still in their cooling or Gola process stage, eventually heading towards their second and third and fourth stages of the Kinga D Congo. Cosmogram's great stages, as described by my works. I guess he wrote a work in 69, 86, and 91. The moon, or in Gondor, and the planet Mars, which means wife of the moon, are of these stages, or of this stage. Planets in this group occupy the second layer of the map, immediately after the green planets layer. The key word in this zone is grayness, dust, but also dryness. These planets are naked, dry, and covered with dust. They are without plants, animals, and of course, without human beings. The Bantu Congo teaching suggests that if left alone, these planets will eventually complete the 4 stages of planet transformation process, which is based on the Congo cosmogram. See the rise in plants and animals and beings like humans share life on them. And then C, red hot planets. Red or hot planets are actually burning planets. They are still matters in fusion without a clearly defined shape or form. They are at their primitive or first stage of planetary formation process. Their Big Bang stage. These planets from the actual last frontier form the last actual frontier of a system such as our own. Beyond these frontiers are infinite dark fields to be invaded by the future firing process of expanding systems. That's crazy. What do y'all think about that?
You realize for them the Big Bang happens every time a planet is formed, right?
Yeah, that's what it basically was saying. It was saying that, you know, the fiery planets are still in their Big Bang stage.
In the Big Bang stage. Like I'm not laughing at the story. I'm laughing at how we're trying to fit this square peg in a round hole. That's what I'm laughing at. Like the story is beautiful. Like realize these guys didn't have no tools. So when like that's creative in the imagination. Okay, like okay, to even think that the moon was dust, like to have that imagination because you can't see it. So to have that imagination is really cool. But then to assume that they were scientific in their process, their hypothesis is already proven false. The planets aren't continuing to evolve. There was no Big Bang of any planets. So their hypothesis, if you want to call it one, that the planets will continue to evolve into a stage of greenness. Now we know that scientifically that hypothesis is wrong. Okay, done. End the discussion. Why continue to beat a dead horse? Why continue to create a false equivocation and then try to make it real? Like this is illogical, irrational. It simply is. Like this don't make no sense. Like Chani was saying, I'm listening to the explanation and going, huh? What you okay?
I mean, that shit is actually hard to read. Like, and the fact that they tried to equate that it had some type of parallels with the Big Bang Theory, right? Even the words that he was using in it was showing that it was a modern interpretation.
Exactly.
Or trying to, you know, fit a square into a round, you know what I mean, hole. Like you I mean that's just
when you read the first paragraph, read it again. There's a sentence that's incomplete. There's something between, and then there's no explanation of between what. I kept slowing them down with that first line. The first couple of lines, there's a what? There's between what? Between nothing. It's just between.
The magmatic matters. Let me see.
Yeah, that around there. It's just between. Between what?
So I have a question though. What you were reading, was that like their actual oral tradition, or is somebody like interpreting that?
What's the name? Fukiala's interpreting.
Yeah, because I'm like extremely perplexed. If you're trying to say that, hey, that this is something that was orally passed down, and people were saying this, before the Big Bang was even, talked about or hypothesized, before it became like a theory or whatever, they wouldn't have been using words like the Big Bang. So what was the original word that they used? Like, that's why I was confused. Like when they were reading that, I'm like, hold up, I'm confused. Like, what, where is this from? And then when he showed the title of the book, I was like, let me try to find this real quick. But
is that so let me start it over.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
It says, for the Bantu people, the Congo in particular, the universe as we see it, as we see and know it, is the result of the primitive event that occurred in and around it.
Yeah, right there. In and around what?
I guess the primitive event. What happened in and around it. What the fuck? Like, it don't. All right, let me start it over. For the Bantu people, the Congo in particular, the universe as we see and know it is the result of the primitive event that occurred in and around it, well known as God cooked dough, the magmatic matters, the Big Bang. That's the whole sentence.
Okay.
That's a crazy. All right, that's a crazy sentence.
Basically, it's leaving a lot of room for assumption and personal interpretation, like how you see with the Bible.
For the Bantu people, the Congo in particular, the universe as we know, as we see and know it, is the result of the primitive event that occurred in and around it, well known as God cooked dough, i.e. the magmatic matters, the Big Bang. That's the sentence.
So now if I'm to deduce, so the universe as we see it, there are these big bangs happening, and what we see now is a result of all those little big bangs that happen. The first big bang was the Earth, because we are in the fourth stage, and then the others banged after, resulting in what we see now. And the red planets, or the red ones, are in their Big Bang phase.
All right, let's read it.
So Big Bang is a phase of development.
All right, let's go to the red planets right here. Red hot planets. Red or hot planets are actually burning planets. They are still matters in fusion without a clearly defined shape or form. They are at their primitive or first stage of planetary formation process, their Big Bang stage. Says it right there.
Okay, so now when we go back, our universe is a result. Our everything we see is a result of Big Bangs. So each star, each planet, each galaxy, everything you see had its own little Big Bang.
Man.
Now it gets even crazier.
I mean, this would make a good science fiction story. The movie would sell out.
Planets banging into existence. Hey. In the beginning, the void.
Fire. It'll sell out in theaters.
See, we trying to make sense out of it. Since they claimed it made sense, now when you read it to make it make sense, it don't make no damn sense.
Now I understand it, but it don't make sense.
Sosa, what's up?
Hey, much. What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing, this Fuki out.
I pull up for a late night bill. Yeah, man. Like, I listened to y'all earlier and shit. I was in the chat and shit. It's just like, you know, correlation doesn't always equate to evidence. All right, that's why they say correlation equals causation. Just because you can show a correlation doesn't mean it's actually evidence of something. You see what I'm saying? So, for me, that's why I said first you have to show that they were actually making a genuine attempt to understand the universe, right? And the only way you can show that is to show that they were using some type of scientific method. But they did. But when you realize that they never made a prediction, right? They never demonstrated something, came up with a model that was repeatable. Then you can't then jump and just skip that and say, well, it was science. And that's why I fall out with it. And I listened to Fukuyama, I listened to one of his damn lectures. He was talking like, he was talking crazy. He was like a baby can't recognize a parent's face till he's like 1 year old. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, when you go to the hospital, you're not really sick. It's because you've done something to your ancestors, your stomach is in knots, and you don't need a doctor. You need somebody who can undo the knots. And that was kind of it for me. And I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, he's pseudo.
Yeah, I don't know.
They didn't brought a pseudo. They are trying to throw a pseudo on us and act like we can't recognize, like the pseudo killers can't recognize a pseudo. This whole pushback. Right, this whole pushback came because from the moment Sean started reading, the pseudo killers could recognize that it was some pseudo shit going on. Then he put a name to it. Then Sean said Fukuyama. Now we got a name for the pseudo.
Hey, the thing is though, like, we know our, like in America, we know our pseudos here. Yes, we can identify them. But you're getting folks from the continent. We don't, what I'm saying? You got nowhere. Like they can be Valentine over there. You don't know.
No, he's not pseudo. I'm sorry, guys. Both Asa and Rob Bond stated it clearly. He's initiated. So he has information and an understanding we're not privy to. He's not pseudo. He's just functioning on a higher plane. He's been initiated. You guys don't listen when the guys are talking. I listen very well. We will never understand because he's been initiated. So he is completely spooked out. We over here trying to make scientific literacy and read and comprehend. We are not functioning on the same spooked level. We haven't been initiated. Have you cut a chicken and smoked a cigar?
Yo,
which one of you smoked the chicken?
It says red hot planets are actually burning planets. Okay. They are still matters in fusion without a clearly defined shape or form. They are at their primitive or first stage of planetary formation process, their Big Bang stage. Wow. Like, how did we miss that?
We missed that. And we
are equating that with saying that it has aspects or parallels to the Big Bang theory.
Like, and now I'm hearing Sean questioning Ankh. Ankh, didn't the planets wasn't there an expansion of fire and wasn't there a cooling, Ankh? Wasn't there a cooling, Ankh? Answer me, Ankh. I'm asking you these questions, Ankh.
But you can draw a correlation between childbirth and the Big Bang. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
From a liquid.
If you can do it with one thing, you can do it with anything.
You know what I'm saying? This merge. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why correlation.
Yeah, the explosion when the egg merges with the sperm cell and the light that flashes off You
Yeah,
know,
that's
it's a
why
moment of Big
correlation.
Bang. It's the
Yeah, that's why
inception of the
correlation.
universe.
Yeah, that's why correlation ain't a good barometer. You know what I'm saying? Just because you can find parallels and shit, because you find parallels in a lot of ancient cosmology, damn near all of them. You know
But
what I'm saying? But
I'm
all
gonna
of a
throw
sudden,
it.
hold on, CK, but all of a sudden, ain't nobody doing no religious shit now. None of the ancient. Oh, God is gone now out of all the out of all across the country. Now,
No, you're wrong,
crazy.
Sosa. God is a European concept, you know. So when we use and use our European and our Eurocentric state of mind and apply these concepts to the continent, then we're showing how we're still conditioned by the Western philosophy. Because God is not based on a definition of something supernatural outside of the realm of reality. No, it's not that. Because Happy
All
is
the
a river.
deity.
Because
God is the
Happy is a
universe.
river. Okay, God is the universe. You know, and in Africa, we don't have religion. What we have is worldviews, and we have culture, and this is the way that we identify ourselves. So you haven't been listening, so I'm disappointed.
Go ahead, CK.
No, I was just gonna say, Sosa, you could throw it right back at him. You know what I mean? It's so easy for someone to say, hey, there's correlation, there's parallels between, pick whatever, culture's cosmology you want to, insert in the blank with the Big Bang. You know what I mean? But as soon as we flip it and start comparing how, oh, look how similar, Christianity is to, the Egyptians' religious practices. Oh, ain't no similarities. Oh, there ain't no correlation. You're going to get a lot of barking then. So it makes me wonder, like, how hypocritical people can be. Like, once we get to talking about something that you're passionate about, now there's no correlation. But like when you want something to be true so bad, despite the evidence, oh, there's correlation now. Yeah, you got to be
check your
careful.
own
My beef
biases.
is like, there's no objectivity when it comes to Africa at all. You know what I'm saying? And I remember watching Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was talking to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was doing on this UFO alien shit, right? And Neil deGrasse Tyson was drilling him with questions upon questions, right? And then in the middle of it, he had to slow down and say, "Hold on." He said, "Listen, I don't want you to think that I'm badgering you." But he said that this is science. He said, "That's how it's done." He said, "We do this to other scientists." You know what I'm saying? And it's constant critiquing question. So, and when we do it, they look at it as if, oh, we're badgering them. You know what I'm saying? They don't expect to be scrutinized like that. So they don't really know how to accept that type of scrutiny because they look at it, oh, you know what? I'm done. You know what I'm saying? You asking all these damn questions. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, but that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you make this extraordinary claim, then you need to show extraordinary evidence.
No, we need to listen to the presentation, be convinced, right? Because they get on a soapbox, they do a presentation. Assad didn't come on to have a conversation and go like we do, sentence by sentence, analyze, read the whole document, go back, read again. What did it say there? No, he wants to give a presentation.
Have you buy
Do
5
all his
books?
do all his logical fallacies, make all his claims that he can't support, try to do the flim flam, but it needs to be in a presentation form because you don't get pushback. So you get a half an hour, 45 minutes of a whole long bunch of conversation, right? Where you don't get to slow him down. And notice Sean like to do that too. He's now willing to have a conversation, go on a soapbox, have a presentation, and call that scientific. That be the case. But even after you do your scientific presentation, all scientists get in the battlefield and defend their arguments. They don't run away. They don't have a presentation, refuse to answer some questions, and start to get a bit. I'm scientific. You guys don't understand. Because I don't agree doesn't mean I don't understand. Because you can't defend your point. I got stuff to do. Bye. after wasting our time with your half an hour presentation of bullshit. Man, I'm glad I wasn't on the panel because he wouldn't have get through with that presentation. I was going to stop him every 10 minutes. No, what you say there? No. But you said you wasn't going to pull stock. But you're doing that right here, right now. From the time you reference modern day science, you now making that claim based on modern day science. Now I'm going to question everything you're saying based on modern day science. And then you can't go back to philosophy and their worldview and their understanding, and then use forecasting, local understanding of the changes in your seasonal weather to determine that they understood cosmology. Who equates the two? Where in the universe of science you ever heard such an equation? Using forecasts to say they had predictive models. Huh? Forecasting? Knowing when the rain's gonna come? Is their way of knowing the universe. Really, Hassan? Really, Sean? And move on the soapbox, hit the link, and come and have the conversation. Now, Sean, now that we understand that each planet had a Big Bang, come and show me how this means the expansion of the universe. I need that explanation from Sean, because we done.
He's gonna tell you he's not making the claim. Fukuyama's making the claim. That's what they're gonna tell you. Anybody can say it ain't my claim. I'm just telling you.
Remember, not that long ago, someone accused some individuals of hiding behind sources. So you either agree with the claim that the person is making or don't. If you agree with their claim, let's drop them sources.
Defend it.
Let's learn something today.
Yeah, they ain't saying that. I didn't heard every damn excuse that they not they not saying it's the Big Bang. Now they saying it paralleled or mirrored some aspects of the Big Bang. Like, I mean,
and we just found out tonight. No, we don't.
Right.
Tonight, right here. Big discovery. Red alert. Do your thing, Sean.
But I heard Jawu flat out say they understood the makers of the universe. He said that on Unbiased Show. You know what I'm saying? So he went away from, he jumped off parallel and mirror. He's saying, nah, they understood. They had an understanding of the making of the universe.
Now, if he come on right here, he gonna say he ain't say that.
That's why the universe happens every night, right?
Or you misunderstood.
That's why it replays itself every night.
Nah, he said that shit verbatim, but he was the king of double speak.
So according to the Egyptians, the story of the universe creation plays out itself every night as the sun sets into the waters of Nu. And it comes up and it replays itself every day. So they had no concept, none, of a universe. None. Of an expansion, of nothing. They simply watched the sun rise and set and thought that was the universe, the creation story playing itself out every night. When we understood that, Ankh got off the panel. He was done. So now you can, oh man, you send those guys a link, leave them come have this conversation tonight, please.
Well, Wuja was actually trying to convince us that that the Egyptians understood the formation of matter, right? He tried to claim that the Egyptian god Nu was not talking about water, right? That it was actually talking about some type of talking about, how
Neutron soup.
yeah, some shit like that, right? that matter was formed out of, right? And my thing was that they would have had to have microscopes and stuff to even perceive of, the you have the micro world, then what's beneath the micro world, Cedric?
You got the nano world, and from
The
the nano
nano,
world,
right?
we go straight into the quantum.
And to the quantum. So he was basically positing that the Egyptians knew something about quantum physics, right? Because, and I'm like, they didn't even have a microscope. So they didn't even understand the micro world. So then if you don't understand the micro world, you can't understand the nano world. And if you don't
they didn't understand
the
electricity,
nano world, then quantum world is so far away from you. You feel me? So when they were talking about new as water was something real to them. So for them to say that life came out of water, they were literally talking about water.
And the sun rising and setting. That's what they were talking about.
Exactly.
Chef, they didn't understand electricity, Chef. You understand? We're going to microscopes. They didn't understand electricity. We don't need to even go into atoms. Electricity. Without step by step.
It's too vague, and that's what I'm saying. Like noon, right? Noon is water, fluid, matter, energy. You see what I'm saying? Like
it's whatever they want it to be at the moment.
It's too ambiguous. You could, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can bend it and shape it and make it fit, right? But all of a sudden it's like, okay, so now, what Wu Jiao was saying is the mythology, for lack of a better term, is not really a mythology or a religion. What we're looking at is a scientific endeavor using symbols and metaphors. That's basically what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
The shit that we read, we think is religion, nah, it's science.
Right. It's cloaked in metaphor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he's saying.
And guess what? Once we allow that, everybody else can do it. The Hebrews can do it.
They already
Native
do
Americans
that.
and their little belief system, they can do it. Any random new age religion somebody want to make up in 2022, they can do it too now.
And again, if this process is happening daily, the creation process is happening daily by their own words, isn't that telling us they are only examining and trying to explain their local environment?
Exactly.
They're talking about the sun setting and rising. That's what they're explaining. They're not going beyond that. It's literally what they're seeing.
Right.
And Sosa, I need you to make that point that you had made on Wu Jia channel the other day, about how ancient cosmologies was explaining their world, right? And you made the most perfect point, and he just blew the stop sign on that.
ran right by that.
He's
like, oh man, you making an assumption, man. These assumptions can't get to that whole thing. It's about, it's just group cohesion. Like a lot of stuff is just fluff, right? Even when you look at the Genesis story, it contains a lot of the same elements.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? They work their shit into the Hebrew shit. Then you get Adam, and they're just trying to come up with and they really and they dealing with this with themselves.
With themselves, right?
The 12 shit of Israel, and then you go to the band to the same shit. The Dogon ain't worried about the Egyptian. Nah, this is how we got here. Shit.
Right.
We came from the planets. Nigga came down, taught us some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, niggas got real shit to deal with, man. They got to worry about the crops coming up like it's supposed to and shit. these pathogens hitting these niggas. They don't know what the fuck. Like, niggas ain't got time to be goddamn splitting the atom.
Right.
Or even care about that shit.
They not even dealing with that.
Oh man, come on, man.
We would have blew their mind talking about that shit. If we
shit. Yeah, well, they need collegiate programs to dedicate to that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Nigga, the Pharaoh, motherfuckers, niggas trying to run cool on the Pharaoh and shit. And niggas overthrowing niggas and Hyksos coming in. And that's why the story never changed. He said a news story never changed. That's how religion is. This shit don't change. They were actually making predictions, adaptations to the story. Okay, you know what? We got this wrong. You would see it. You don't see it. This is the story. It'll remain that way.
That's it. That's it. It's a story. Done. That's it. It's a story. It's a story.
They put useful shit.
Why can't we leave it at a story?
Yeah, and they put useful shit in the story, you know, to deify those things that are important to them. You know what I'm saying? But that's what all cultures do. Like, they all do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So to make it seem like that's why I be saying, like, it's just a human endeavor to make it seem like Africa's doing something that other humans they do, and you see it globally. You know what I'm saying? Or unless you're saying globally.
Humans be human all the time, globally, all over the planet.
Yeah, right. Unless you're saying globally, niggas understood how the universe was created globally. Because you can find correlations globally. So,
listen, the Mayas had the most perfect calendar up to 2020, 2012 or whatever, 12th of December. And it was precise. I mean, they for sure knew, created them, which was flying, a flying dragon kind of snake that created them was the real beginning of the cosmology. They were right because their calendar is so good. Like really? And every time they keep drawing a reference to them understanding their local weather and forecasting the behavior of their local environment, they equate that to understanding the Big Bang. How do we make these leaps?
Right.
This is crazy. They can do forecasting, so they knew scientific predictions about the Big Bang, and we see that the Bantu, they understood that every planet had a Big Bang and went through a cooling phase. So our universe that we see and our solar system is the result of each planet having a Big Bang, including the moon and the sun being the result of an individual Big Bang. The moon is actually younger than the Earth because the Earth reached its fourth stage and the moon is still in its gray stage. So they didn't give a time frame. They didn't complete their scientific prediction as to when the moon will go into its fourth stage.
See, that's so crazy. I don't even think the Bantu said that. I think Fukuyama is saying that.
Hey, but this is the crazy thing though, Chef. You know, think about Egypt, right? How more advanced Egypt was than the Bantu.
Right.
And the Bantu
know the nature of the planets.
The Bantu neck and neck with the
surface of the planet. Say, no way in the world.
The Bantu neck and neck with the Egyptians. They got no pyramids, no nothing.
Right. The Congo people, Egypt been there for over 2,000 years. The Congo people haven't caught up with the Egyptians yet.
Chef, they know that Mars and the moon is primarily sand because sand equates to gray. And they know that eventually when those planets mature, life will mysteriously, spontaneously combust on these planets. You don't get it. Read it again, Chef.
No,
Read it.
but the Congo never had a telescope. How would they even know how these planets look? It's stupid. It's stupid
They
that,
got the best
that they
weed out
knew
there.
these
What's wrong with
things.
you? You've never, Chef, you've
The
not been
Portuguese,
initiated. That's why you don't understand.
no, the Portuguese would have known when they ran up on them like, yo, these people in the Congo know the orbit of the planets and the nature of the planet. No, they would have been fucking amazed. The Europeans would have been amazed at what these Africans knew in the Congo.
Man, the
Listen,
was still doing human
listen,
sacrifice
Chef,
shit like that, bro. Like they was
you
still
don't
doing.
get it. You know what happened? It was that the Europeans thought that these people were practicing witchcraft because the European had at that point a geocentric view of the world, of the solar system. So they thought that the Earth was the center of the universe. So when the Africans, when they discovered that the Africans believed that each planet had its own Big Bang, they said, no, this is witchcraft. You don't get it, Chef.
There's no way in the world the Portuguese and them could have went to the Congo and the goddamn Congolese people knew all of these things about the solar system and couldn't get off of the continent of Africa. Like they were no way possible. There's no way y'all know all and y'all can't get off the coast of West Africa. Like y'all haven't built a ship yet. And see, that's why we sound anti-African. Because we asking basic questions. Like, so y'all know about the
you're applying Western logic. You're applying Western logic and reasoning. You guys are wrong. You're approaching this from a Western worldview. That's why you're asking these logical questions, Chef. You're wrong. You're wrong. You've not been initiated, Chef. I'm here to defend all the pseudos out there. Tonight, I'm the pseudo in the panel. It's a matter of perspective. Okay?
I would
let me stop my bullshit because these guys ain't serious.
I would have to, if you telling me that it was a people in the 1600s that knew the things that we're claiming that the Congo people knew, right, about the solar system, then they were more advanced. They are more advanced than the colonizers.
Yeah.
At that point, they were more
in the
advanced
1500s. Exactly.
When
the Columbus did his voyage, they thought the Earth was flat.
The telescope wasn't invented until 1609. They were more advanced than the colonizers. At that point, like what?
And like old boy said, he said he was amongst them asking about that series being none of them niggas ever heard of that shit.
None.
Oh, that's talking about that's the group in Ghana. What's those people called?
Oh, the Dogon.
The Dogon, yeah. That's the Dogon. You know what I mean? That the ones that can see Sirius.
If you watch enough Ancient Aliens, and then you listen to that stuff that you read there, Sean, that sound like Zachariah stitching fingerprints all over that Chariots of the God from Africa, Fukiao.
Yeah, Zachariah.
That shit is pseudo nonsense. You slipping in modern terminologies in there. You are making a false equivocation. Like now we are here dismantling the cosmology of the Bantu people, and we are doing an injustice to them because of Fukiao and because of Sean and Assad. Let's be honest, because the Bantu didn't have a big bang in their head. They saw each planet must have come from an explosion. Done. They must have seen volcanoes spewing out magma. The magma cools, then there's more land mass, I can understand them making these, coming up with these ideas, with these
I can't.
stories.
I can't. I can't. I
But
can't even see them coming up with that.
but they had no idea. Mind you, if they say the moon, the sun, the planets came into being the same way by means of each one having an explosion, I can accept that. But to say that explosion somehow equates to a big bang, an expansion of the universe from one central point, when we read in your own breakdown, point 4, that they are talking about each planet having their own combustion, their own origin point, their own spontaneous coming into being, to equate that in any way to the Big Bang is doing the Bantu an injustice. Why? And then to equate it to modern science. Why? Because you're going to get the pseudo killers. You're going to get all other people who have basic comprehension of cosmology. They're going to read that, and they're not going to laugh at Fukia. They're not going to laugh at Sean and Asar. They're going to laugh at the Bantu.
So he talking about goddamn Alfonso them boy, Chef. You know what I'm saying? Alfonso and them knew about that shit.
Right.
We ain't being off the niggas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Look,
like,
I put in, and I
you
don't
just
even
play with niggas and all type of shit.
But see that's my issue, right? Because when I never heard of the Congo when it came to astronomy or ancient astronomy, right? And so I don't think that the Congo people was saying these things about the planets. Like you can't look up in the sky and know the nature of a planet. I don't even think they could distinguish a planet from another star just by looking up. And my proof of that is when you go and Google it and you look for ancient Congo astronomy, nothing comes up.
All right. And if anybody would have had it, would have been Alfonso.
Right.
He was dominant in that region. He had his territory expanded deep. You know what I'm saying? So, shit, you know what I'm saying? The European would have definitely been copying shit down from him. So, what you saying? Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Ancient African astronomy is damn near limited to Egypt. And what they observed, West Africa, the only thing that it talks about with West Africa is the Islamic period. You know what I mean? Of them mentioning different things about the solar system and plotting stars and stuff like that. But for the Islamic period, West Africa is not mentioned of having any traditions dealing with the solar system in any competent type of way. Now, that's anti-African for me saying that. That's crazy. Maybe they wasn't worried about that shit.
That shit wasn't important to them. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Like, it's not like, because it's not like that's just necessary at that time period. Like, that's extra shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to say something anti-African. The Maasai didn't know nothing about shipbuilding. They were ignorant to shipbuilding. That's anti-African.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they didn't need it. They didn't have no necessity for it. It didn't contribute to their life where their environment is. But they were ignorant of it. And because I made a statement that's factual but irrelevant, I'm anti-African. Like, because you point out a simple fact, they didn't need it. they weren't interested in. They had their little story of how they came into being and how they understood their environment around them, and that was it. They weren't interested in plotting the stars.
It wasn't
It
necessary,
simply
just like the
wasn't.
Hebrews.
It
They
wasn't
don't.
necessary.
They got their goddamn Torah. They ain't tripping on all that other shit. Nigga, we got our origin stories. Now it's time to goddamn take over shit and build shit like we ain't shit.
Congo, the man them worrying about them big lions and trying to secure a meal and worrying about slave traders and Nzinga coming to catch them. You think they got time to worry about the damn stars and expansion of the universe?
Yeah, because the Saw was like they was on because he was like until the Europeans kind of interrupted and they was on their way. You know what I'm saying?
On their way where?
On their way to goddamn the whole Einstein shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, man.
The electricity? They were on their way to electricity?
And then
because before we get to expansion and atoms and anything of the nature quantum, and before we get to the building blocks of reality, we got to get to at least like electricity. So let's show me some ancient Egyptian electricity.
I'm saying before all this time being around Haru Jaw on the panel talking all the Egypt stuff, why he never bring up the Big Bang correlation? Like why we just not hearing this from Dan Wuja with his Big Bang? He should have been dropped them jewels. You feel me?
Another feather in a cap. We would have done know that for a fact.
I blame Asar. Asar the ringleader, man. They all truly follow Asar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Asar the ringleader. Like they very rarely go get anything Asar.
Asar tried to claim that Einstein had imagination and not mathematics. And we don't understand because mathematics is simply a language. So what he did, what he translated his mathematics, his imagination into mathematics. But without the imagination, not without the mathematics, okay? Without the imagination, which the Egyptians and the Congo people were displaying, they wouldn't have been able to come up with the relativity theory. So it was not based on its calculation, it was based on its imagination. So whatever the Congo imagined, they're right. Because without imagination, you don't have science.
Yeah,
y'all go back and listen to that video.
Until I have another conversation with them about that shit, like I said, you got to show me that ancient societies were actually trying to be scientific in their origin story. You know what I'm saying? That shit going, you know what I'm saying? If you can prove that, you're going to turn academia on its head with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you basically removed the God concept.
That's some Nobel Prize stuff.
Yeah, you definitely
that's some PhD level stuff.
You remove the whole God concept completely out of the way. Now God ain't God no more. No society. God is just a metaphor for the actual goings on. Even though they sacrifice, and making tribute and you know what I'm saying, all that shit to the gods, that ain't really what it is. It's symbolic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see, they didn't really have an idea and a belief in the afterlife. You know, they didn't have a religion and a belief in the afterlife. That was just a ceremony.
Yeah, that Mayan calendar was tight as hell, but you best believe they sacrificed thousands, tens of thousands of niggas. Like they was murking niggas by the thousand, even with all that accurate calendar and crops. And
500 people to guarantee rain this summer, and 700 to make sure that the moon set comes up tonight, and another 700 to make sure that the sun rises tomorrow. But they had a perfectly good calendar, but they was on some religious shit.
Yeah, they was knocking niggas off by the tens of thousands.
And the Egyptians had a whole concept thought out, verses, spells, rituals, elaborate buildings, because they believed in gods, in afterlife, in an existence outside of this reality. So they were engaging in spookism first class. You can try and make that into atoms and into quantum physics all you choose, but that ain't happening.
Yeah, that shit crazy. Like I said, I ain't having no conversation until they can show that they was practicing science. The ancient society was practicing science in terms of understanding the universe. The origin stories ain't origin stories. They're scientific endeavors. Like you gotta prove that first, and then we can have a discussion about what correlations may have came.
Ain't no correlations. They ain't got no correlation. It's just, I mean, like my whole thing is I'm trying to figure the reasoning behind it. How is it possible that we can identify this behavior in any other culture? And I'm going to say yes, we have become experts in identifying these ills in Western Judeo Christianity. We can call off the William Lane Craigs and laugh at the Muslim apologists who all do this stuff and know what they're doing. But when it comes to Africa, somehow we just lose our marbles and get all spooked out and try to move goalposts. All of a sudden, definitions are not definitions no more, and all of a sudden, science is a Western point of view. And how, when, why does this happen? Are we so we? Does our identity crisis run so deep? Are we that fragile? Like we need to make things more than what they are, and in that process, you actually now create an environment where it seems as if the attack is on the Bantu again. I'm playing back what we're doing here, and it seems as if we're attacking the Bantu. We're not attacking the Bantu. The Bantu have a right to their story. I would love for someone to read their story and just simply translate what they wrote or what they believe without Foucault's Big Bang interventions. That story would be beautiful to hear. But from the time you come to a scientifically group of people and try to present what they thought or what they imagined in the realm of science, you're going to get disqualified. Then we're going to pick apart the parallels you're trying to make. And in doing that, it's going to make these people seem as if on a scientific level, they were completely illiterate when they weren't trying to be scientific. And that is unfair to the Bantu. And that's not on us. That's on Foucault, that's on Sean and Assad.
African Americans, out African African.
Yeah, they done messed Africa. Mr. Rich, where you at, Mr. Rich?
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? How you guys doing?
Good, can't complain.
Yo, I was listening last night. Did you guys listen last night?
To what?
No. To Wujau.
No, well, I ain't catch it.
Yeah. So what Cedric is saying, right? Mm-hmm. About how it wasn't scientific. He was explaining about how the metaphors is used in science, right? And he was using this one paper he was reading at the beginning was on the problem and promise of metaphors used in science and science communication, right? Mm-hmm. So he's saying that you guys are taking it literally when the metaphors is used in science today. That's the kind of he was saying too in the beginning, because it's 4 hours. I was driving last night anyway but he was saying that he was reading one paper where it said that the language of science is largely metaphorical. Scientists rely on metaphors and analogy to make sense of scientific phenomena and communicate their findings to each other and to the public. So he's saying that, they're using the metaphor. So, that scientific is, they're using metaphors because that's using science today. What y'all think about that?
No,
So
I can kind of agree with that, but the difference is if our scientists in the scientific community is using metaphors, right, to explain to the lay people, we still can go read their actual scientific journals where they're really explaining it and breaking it down scientifically. With the Egyptians, we don't have that with them.
now
All we have is their religious jargon. And
he said they have that.
let's see.
He said they have that.
Now you're left to just believe him.
Well, right, but he said they have that, and they actually was going back and forth with this whole, understanding the universe thing. They was going back and forth with it. You know what I mean? During the different dynasties or whatever.
Well, no, he's making that up.
Made that shit up. I asked him point blank on the show about that shit, and he had no response. He tried to show me like, they was bringing in different religions. They had different concepts of religion came in. You know what I'm saying? Like he's correlating any type of religious change to a scientific battle. That's why he tried to pull that Akhenaten shit on me. And I was like, bro, you're not gonna compare Akhenaten to Galileo. You know what I'm saying? And then he backed off.
I asked him, I said, well,
sun worship compared to understanding the universe, our galaxy, or really? Okay.
Because I asked him, how did they do that? And he was like, he explained it through the metaphors and, the water, none.
There you go. There you go.
And he was talking about the soup, you know what I mean? And how the scientists explain it today as being soup.
Which scientists explains which soup?
All of ancient societies use water, man, because they understand that water sustains life. Like without water, shit, everything needs water. They recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a leap. That's something you can just bear witness to. You know what I'm saying? So then you would think, well, shit, in order for life to exist somewhere else, and shit, they probably gotta need water too.
Mm-hmm.
So when science use a local term like Milky Way, so they use the word milky and they use the word way, two conventional terms. But there's none of us here that's actually gonna think that science says that there's milk forming our galaxy in a neat, nice highway going in one direction, 6 lanes. Now, if any paper says our galaxy is white because of milk and there's 6 lanes flowing in one direction, that's why you see things moving around, then that would not be a metaphor. That would be a primitive idea, equation, based on what people observe with the naked eye. Because you would never find Milky Way and the word milk and highway in that explanation. So it's not metaphorical, Ujao. You see, when you try these games, you expose yourself trying to do the flim flam. What these people were doing was updating their religious beliefs and religious systems. Newt, that process took place every day as the sun set into the waters of Newt. What more, like these people were river-based, water-based people. There is no scientific explanation anywhere that refers to anything in the galaxy as soup or water. Fluidity in waves is not equated by fluidity of water. So you can't say the fluidity of the wave particles. Yeah, you see, they talk about Newt, and Newt is water and it's fluid. And science says that the wave particles move in a fluid motion. They popping in and out. You see, you can't do that. That's beyond pseudo. That's just ignorant.
He also said something
Eye
about
vision. That's
that
the
it's not
television
particles.
type of thing.
He said it's not particles, that some new research is saying that it's not really particles. That's what he was saying last night.
Yeah. It's not really particle. Now we reach to the point of the Higgs boson. So he was like, and we hardly can understand what that is. We're talking about planes and particles popping in and out of existence, and one antiparticle meets one particle, one pro particle, and there's one more particle versus one antiparticle, and boom, reality comes into being. String theory. There are a bunch of hypotheses. We don't actually have firm theory where that is concerned. And now, if we don't have one with telescopes and satellites and voyagers, you're gonna tell me of people that anyway, like they didn't have electricity, yo. How are you gonna talk about atoms if you don't even have the ability to manipulate electricity? You can't produce light. There is no way you're gonna talk about particles or wave functions. You're just not going to do it. It's stages in development. You can't ask certain questions until the technology provides you with the ability to advance science. And that science advances the technology again. The technology allows you to ask certain questions which advance science again. You can't ask these questions if you don't even have the ability to manipulate electricity. Come on, like, are we for real?
Yeah, we gotta stop listening to Wu Jai at this point.
Yeah, I'm done. Teach Meadow Neto. I appreciate it. It's fascinating. But like, don't start making these leaps. And to what purpose? What purpose does it serve?
Mike can't trust that Metal Netter no more either. Getting crazy out here.
And that's what's hurting me about our good brother. The work you've been doing in this effort where we're dealing with out here is tremendous. Now you make people question your scientific literacy overall when you start to make certain leaps. When you simply can't read what Foucault wrote and go, okay, either Foucault is out of his mind or I'm confused on what I'm reading here, because the Bantu had an elaborate imagination if they even went this far. But this shit, you can't equate to modern science in no way. Next, let's go back to debunking the pseudo killers about Nzinga. But you can't continue to push this bullshit. Come on, for real? And doubling down and tripling down?
Hey, but that shows Wuja though, he's adapting. Because when I asked him a question, he had no answers for it. So now he's adapting the narrative to fit. Because I was like, I said, Wuja, there would be additions and subtractions. You know what I'm saying? I said, you don't see that. You know what I'm saying? And he's tried to use those as Akhenaten coming to rule as a change, right? But what we know about Akhenaten, we know that Akhenaten move was not a scientific venture by making Amun the chief god. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That wasn't his perspective. He wasn't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't scientific. That was religious. That was religious based.
Religious, political, that had nothing to do with science.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But now he's adapting the stories and saying that these, and then you got other
so
groups.
Akhenaten came up with the scientific paper that sunlight is required for the human body to synthesize vitamin D, and that the liver benefited from sunlight. He has a scientific hypothesis for the reason the sun is central to the human being.
Nah, that sounds like some Farrakhan shit.
No, I mean, if there's a scientific reason why the sun became the center of Akhenaten's reign, then there would be something that relates directly to the benefits of sunlight on the human body.
I mean, you see within their culture that certain area was raised and set to the chief deity. You see these like religious type of struggles going on. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean. But Wujao he's removed all religious concepts out of Egypt. He's taken like that's his angle was nothing is religious in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So that's what so he's just going to remove all religious factors and make it a educational scientific venture that's going on, and that's just crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, and I said in the chat, I said either Asar and them are ahead of their time or they pseudo. It ain't no in between. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want. Most academia don't agree with what they're pushing. Just simple, man.
Happy was not a god. Happy was simply the river. Okay? You misinterpreting stuff. So, son, I am too, because we're not initiated. Just face it.
That's why I be wanting when y'all was having a conversation. That's why I was like, you know what? Switch it off of damn Kemet, because he's always gonna hide with he's always gonna run and hide in Kemet. That's his safe ground. Because he can always say, listen, y'all don't understand it. Y'all don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, take it to someplace else since it's prolific in other ancient cosmologies, and show us there. Well, we're both on the same foot. You know what I'm saying? We both can read it in plain English. You know what I'm saying? We don't gotta read the metal netta. You know what I'm saying? Do it there.
Yeah, he did the same thing with the Congo. Or the day on Unbiased channel. You know what I mean?
We don't study the stuff.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And we have a Western perspective. And we don't do a proper methodology. And we don't have sources. I got Foucault. What y'all got? Huh? Y'all got scientific literacy? Y'all actually know the Big Bang and the processes? Wow. How does that equate? That's just Western science, yo. This is Sean. And I'm the one that's just a yes, sir, and don't know shit. You gotta come see me, Sean. Come on the panel, man. Come have this discussion. We got Foucault paper right here. Don't run. No excuses. Come here and talk that shit. Tell me, the Ankini on the panel. It's just me. Let's see if I click in yes, and I don't understand the expansion and the cooling and the heat and the fire. Come, ask me a million questions. Ducking and hiding, running, you coward. I'm gonna keep calling you out. You call me a yes, sir, on this subject, then you're gonna have to face me. Until then, you're pseudo as hell. This bullshit of equating it to Krauss and equating it to deGrasse Tyson, and you can't pull up a source or a paper where Neil deGrasse Tyson said, yeah, the Congo, them niggas. And why did I go to university? I just needed to move to the Congo. Show me a paper where Neil deGrasse saying that shit.
We gotta put the memo out, Chef. Goddamn, say what that smoke with Sean. Goddamn, like we gotta call Sean out because it's Sean hiding.
He ain't gonna show up. Sean's smart. Look,
Sean
Sean's
hiding.
Smart. No,
Yeah,
Sean's smart. He see the writing on the wall. Sean don't even want to talk about that shit no
went
more.
this far as
No, I
to say Unc is the smartest one on the panel. So we a bunch of jackasses, and anything that Unc says, I'm agree with. Cedric's gonna agree with because Cedric is a jackass, right? So Sean, don't run from the jackass. Bring Fuki out. I come in with my empty hands, no sources. Since you talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson and Lawrence Krauss, you gonna have to show me where they say that they agree that these people had parallel, similar, in according to their worldview. You're going to have to show me that source, Sean, since you the man with the source and the method. And you understand the Big Bang cosmology because you think there was a fire, apparently. A lot of heat came from fire because you need oxygen to have fire, Sean. So come, Sean, let's have this discussion, Sean. Either yes, sir.
Let me see who in the chat.
Yes, sir.
We go send a memo out to Sean.
Adrian, what's up, Adrian?
Oh, I'm doing good, back in school or whatever. But I want to say something on like the panel subject real quick, right? I'm not gonna say that you all are anti-African, but what I will say is that you all are, I would say, and just let me finish from what I'm about to say. You all are kind of, I would say, anti-African studies almost. Because let me just explain. No, let me just. Hey, stop.
Ain't nobody cutting you.
Let me explain. Okay, let me explain. That's why I said.
Ain't nobody cutting you. I'm just saying, ain't nobody cutting you. You paranoid.
Dude. All right, because let me just explain. There's just some time period where let me talk. Let me talk. I knew this was gonna happen. But anyway, okay, stop laughing. But anyway, because let me just explain. With you, Shepard, where you said that, like, yeah, like, I believe that, African Americans, should just, we should just study our own ethnic group and like let that be it. And I sometimes disagree with that because that's not necessarily historically how other people besides Black people have like acted. Like, let me give an example. Like pan-Arabism. A lot of the Arab like political parties that we see, they generally always try to look at themselves across diaspora as like one, conglomerate, and they don't separate themselves between so-called tribes, ethnic groups as much. But in the final analysis, I don't believe you all are, anti-African. Now, sometimes with the whole thing of studying just West Africa, because we're from West African descent, I think sometimes that is what I like to call intellectual masturbation. But y'all not really anti-African. That's just my 10 cents.
Yeah, we good. Good.
You're absolutely, you're absolutely.
Let me get it out.
100%.
Get it out.
He done.
Yeah, I'm through.
Yeah,
so all
listen,
I'm gonna say.
Listen. I'm not
Hey,
going
don't
try
try to sub me because I'm 23.
Okay.
I always feel like that's where that's going. But all right.
Saying, I don't. I ain't gonna pretend like I wake up, dreaming about the breeze of the Sarah Hazard wind blowing through my dreadlocks, no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, like, I'm on the side of the truth. You know what I'm saying, and just right information. Wherever the right information falls, like that's where I try to be at with the information. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, then I'm willing to, listen to where I'm wrong at. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, if I'm wrong about something, just explain to me where I'm wrong. And then, when we hash it out intellectually, we debate it. We bring up points, and then we walk away, with a better understanding. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like the like we like it's done over here without us having a chance to rebut anything that's said. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just get to paint a narrative without any type of rebuttal. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like. Like, let's just hash it out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like all of a sudden we groupies, but they don't ever say that when we was most of the show is us arguing with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they don't
Arguing
say
the
it.
coach.
Yeah, like half our shows are just us arguing with different people on our own squad about different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, shit. And
What I'm gonna say,
I feel
Adrian,
like they're not
and the
objective.
only
They have
thing
no
I
objectivity when it comes to Africa. No objectivity when it comes to Africa at all.
that's it. Agreed, Tony. That's
You know what I'm
my
saying?
point.
And
Just
they
be
want to hear,
objective. That's it.
yeah, even when I heard Wuja on a show, and he said, yeah, you know, y'all he call y'all like Hegelites or some shit like that, right?
Ain't nothing wrong with Hegel.
But the point is that that wasn't exclusive to Africa. It was to all ancient societies.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make a distinction like it's only Africa. Like, we didn't say only Africans didn't do it, everybody else did. We said no, none of them needs to.
None of them. None. Nowhere in the world. None on the planet.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's that. You know what I mean, that's like to even say that and paint that kind of narrative based on what we're saying is like it's fallacious. Really.
I feel like I know where he probably was going. So he called y'all Hegelists.
Yeah, he like.
I feel like I know where he was going because Friedrich Hegel. I love him because I've read like almost every single book on Marxism, Leninism there is. But I think that what he was trying to talk about was that like Hegel, he was a racist, a product of his time who said like, and I can quote him exactly. He said, Africa is a land where men are children. This is he said this is a outline of man's rudimentary mind. I think that's what he was probably referring to. But I love Hegel. I love Marxism and what it did for the people of people of color across the world and revolutionary movements. But yeah,
You see that point?
They ain't gonna like you. They ain't gonna like you, Adrian. Man, Hegel like.
I mean, I would just prefer to see. This is where like history to look like modern stuff come in too, because all you have to do if you want to say Hegelites, I'd be like, so okay, so the Black Panther Party used Marxism, Leninism all the time. So we just go like, are you gonna call them Hegelists and throw them out? Or Kwame Nkrumah, or who's another one? Paul Robeson. He was probably, I say, one of the most finest Black leaders who ever lived, and he was a communist, and he used Hegel. Even Dr. King, he was a whole philosopher and a theologian at the same time. He used Hegel to the T. Just look at his writings. So I just hit him with that, like, dude, you stupid. Well, you're not stupid. You just intellectually misinformed on that subject of Hegel.
Oh shit! Goddamn, Adrian want that smoke with Wujawu. Put the memo out.
I get Wujawu. Like, I mean, see, I hate when people like do certain stuff like that. Like, it's something that Lenin, what Vladimir Lenin. This is the thing that people don't like understand about Lenin too. Did you know what Karl Marx and Friedrich Hegel felt about Russia? They felt that Russia would not be able to benefit from their version of communism. They'd be like, those Russians are just overly backward, they're serfs, whoop-de-woo. But Vladimir Lenin said, you know what? I'm gonna amalgamate Friedrich Hegel's and Karl Marx writings to make it work for the Russian peasantry, and we know what he did. There are no more Romanovs on this planet. So I just be hitting them with all types of stuff like that. Like, dude, you misinformed. Like, hello.
Should have been there. The only thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to Africana studies, like we do it maybe in our own way. Okay, we take claims and we dig in. I've learned so much about West Africa, Queen Nzinga. I've heard the name all the time. I'm gonna tell you, my thing is science. I really don't delve into that type of history all that much. So you hear the name, Uncle loves her, okay, fine. But now we dig into the story. Now I have a better appreciation for the individual. I understand the politics and the dynamics of the region. There are much more insight to what the civilizations look like. This lady had a court, you know what I mean? When it comes to Africana studies, maybe the pseudo killers do it a little bit different because we just apply a certain process of digging up and reading up, fact checking stuff, dealing with pseudoisms. That's what we do. But that doesn't mean we don't appreciate the subject matter. We do. Otherwise, we would have not been interested in let these pseudoisms fly. I mean, there's no aspect of pseudo-isms that exist in our community that is taboo. We've gone after the crystals, we've gone after the Hawkman. There is no sacred cows over here. There simply isn't. And to then start with the straw mans and the red herrings, oh, they're anti-African or these type of rhetoric is immature and childish. Let's have the conversation if you think we're actually just beaten up on Africa. And to the point that it seems that way, we are not the one discrediting the Africans, trying to make the African more than what they actually are, instead of giving them credit and appreciating what they actually did, is what is discrediting the African. When Foucault writes this nonsense, it's him who is disrespecting the African and the Bantu culture, not us.
Yeah, that's what Dr. Reggie even sometimes does that too, where he'll sometimes try to make it. I wish I could come up with what he said, but it's like like what?
And that is supposed to be the atoms. And come on, Reggie.
Yeah, and another thing, and I'm just saying this out of respect. I don't like how he always keep on saying Dr. Clark and Dr. Beer are my teachers. Like we've established. I mean, look, I love Dr. Clark. Like I'm getting a degree in Africana studies right now.
Who's your teacher, son? Who's your teacher?
Who? Oh, yeah, with Dr. Reggie.
You know Reggie. Who's your teacher?
He keep on saying that over and over again. Like Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben, they were.
What have you done, Adrian?
Right.
What have you done, Adrian? What have you written, Adrian? I've sat at the feet. I've smelled the stinky, cheesy toes of the greats, Adrian.
He said that to me. All I said was, I just tried to get the conversation back, and he went in on me. He about to break out Dr. Clark bibliography on me. I'm like, no, like, don't do it, bro. I'm just like, come on, man.
He went off on you, so.
He all he needs to do is just produce some books and keep going to like Ask Cat and all that type of stuff and do his own stuff, like, because that gets kind of tired. Like when I get my PhD in the future, I'm gonna tell people who my teachers are, but I'm not gonna constantly do that over and over again. Like Dr. Cornel West knows me.
Don't sit at their feet, though, Adrian. That's a little unhygienic.
You just want a national championship, baby.
You just sit in a chair and listen to them. It's not necessary to smell their toes, okay, Adrian? I'm just saying. Don't sit like too close. You know, that's unhygienic.
George just won a national championship, baby.
Right.
It's over.
I wanted to say that to Dr. Reggie when he was over here. Like, you don't have to keep expressing that to people, man.
Oh, he ain't gonna never stop. Yeah. Of course, I came on Dr. Ben, you know what I'm saying? I spent every time, bro. Every show. Like people in the chat was like, I know Reggie. You know Reggie.
Yo, can I ask something?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Rich. You got a
Hey,
Mr.
yo,
right
can
there.
y'all, can I play something? How he answered my question?
Oh, Joe shit?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Joe ain't gonna goddamn.
Please do.
just so you can see what he said to my question. You know what I mean? Hold
Yeah.
up. Let me get this. Tell me if you can hear it. Hold up. So when it comes to the senses, the 5 senses that we have, hold on, because I asked him, I was like, Uncle saying something, but the senses, right? And and how they came up with this. So he's answering it now. Check it out. We understand and we know that our senses are open and very vulnerable to be fooled and tricked. And so the 5 senses, which is our natural input devices, we're handicapped. And so what science tries to do, and what every population of people try to do, is they try to put controls on the senses, because they know the how fragile it is, and it could be fooled. The sense of sight, you can see things that and misinterpret what you see. You can hear things that's not really what you think it is, and so on and so forth. But all of those 5 senses really come down to one sense of perception. And
What?
so what they try to do is, this is one of the reasons why abstract formulations that are repeatable patterns are even brought about, which is to kind of offset that vulnerable aspect of our senses. And so when it comes to the ancient Egyptians and this association with water and the original state of being, they took a different approach. They looked at it as through the eyes of perception. So I don't have enough time to fully break it down, but I'm just give you the short and skinny. So think about it.
Break it down.
And like, before you knew me, I didn't exist to you, but yet I existed, because I'm my age that I am. So obviously I existed for how long I've been living, but I did not exist to you. And so each individual has a not a physical universe, but you have a counterpart to a universe that you are constantly creating. You're constantly bringing things into existence, but only for you, through
sound like
your
Brother Polite.
perception. And so the Egyptians went through that natural phenomenon that everybody experiences and you cannot deny. And they started to conjecture and speculate about how the universe is a mirror of it. And so they attribute deities to these facts. So the deity of perception is the deity called Sia. And so it's through this perception that things come into existence. And so Sia, along with 2 other deities, Hu and Heka, accompany another deity, a creator deity called Ra, God, the creator God, Ra. And Ra is the entity or deity that differentiates itself to become the things in the world and as the world. But it's accompanied by Sia, which is perception, and then Hu and Hika, which are I had to explain another time. But it's the perception of a thing that creates the thing for the one who's doing the perceiving. So the perceiver is the perspective of where everything is looked at. So like today we will ask questions like, if a tree fell in the forest and made a sound, but nobody was there to hear it.
What is he talking about?
We'll
I don't
philosophize
even
or
know
create
what he's
that.
talking about.
Valentine 2.0. Dr. Phil Valentine 2.0. That was a bunch of nonsense.
That's the same thing the Egyptians did.
Yeah.
And so when you ask, did they explain, how they came up with this stuff? That's how they did it. And they talk about this. But you have to look at the deities, because the opposite of Sia or perception is imperceivable, which is Amen. And they understood that there is an existence.
that is imperceivable, but yet it exists.
Right. That's
And so
God.
they respected that, and they knew that, okay, there's an aspect of the universe that we cannot perceive. And our scientists today are saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, you know what the Hebrews call
Can't
that
perceive.
shit? They call that shit
It's
God.
immeasurable. Because we don't even know if time, because time and space creates distance and dimension. So before there was time and space, which they call the expansion, like the Big Bang is the expansion of space itself. When you shrink it back down, there is no space. So what was that? So it's imperceivable. So that's what they describe as new, and they get into the Ogdad or the Camino, the 8 aspects of new. Then you get to the Enneads, starting with Atum, and his name means complete, the completed one. So Atum is twofold.
This making my head hurt.
When we're dealing with the god Atum, it's a twofold meaning with his name and his function. One,
like
he is the completion of a process. And then 2, he's the finisher of something. So it's the same word with the English word finish. Finish could mean to complete something, or it could mean to destroy or to negate it. Like finish him. You know, and so that's the same aspect or function Atum has to the Egyptians, where he is the first of a new cycle completing an old one, coming out of new through the 8. And then on this side of material and matter from him comes Shu, Tefnut, and so on and so forth, where he stands on this Ben, this first primordial mound, you know, all of that stuff. That's what it's referring to. So, you know, short answer is yes, the Egyptians explain it, but they explain it in a very rich and figurative way.
There you go.
Thanks, brother.
There you go. That's it. They explained it.
Right, but they don't explain how. They don't explain how they
don't give them that much.
How they make
Wu
repeatable.
Jiao say they explained it.
Repeatable shit.
Wu Jiao concluded they explained it. Wu Jiao didn't even explain shit. Wu Jiao hit us with it. Phil Valentine, flim flam, sent them around the planet. Perception, anti-perception, and they perceived it. Imagination, like Ankh said. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, because you know the Hebrews, they'll say God is imperceivable, it's immeasurable.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how people see God.
At the expansion, there was no space. And then what does that mean? What does that supposed to mean?
I was lost.
Space exists because of the bodies in it, right? Otherwise, it would just be nothingness. Nothingness is the same, is equal as complete space, like void of space and total space is the same thing. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, Wuja is rock your ass.
There was wow.
Rock you to sleep, and that's the short and skinny.
That was Phil Valentine 2.0.
Does he have a show where he does?
I didn't understand it either. But I was like, all right, cool.
Assessment another way we doing that shit.
Wow. He said because you guys don't know or understand the African cosmology, that's why, and he said they're not explaining the Big Bang, the theory, he's saying that they're explaining what happened before, or that second phase, because they break it down in phases.
Scientists don't even know what happened before the goddamn Big Bang.
Well, yeah, he said it wasn't a bang anyway. He's like, it was this expansion,
Yeah, they don't know what happened before.
Right. That's what he's saying, that they didn't know what happened before that. So the second stage with the primordial water or fluid or whatever, that's new.
Yeah, in Genesis, you find a primordial water.
Right.
You find
form.
you find a Native American culture too. Like it's just, you know what I'm
Void
saying?
of form.
Yeah. They talking
And I'm
about
not being funny
like
either.
the
I'm just
water
saying.
and the water was separated above the sky. Like, yeah, nigga, they saw water come down from the goddamn sky.
Where else it coming from?
You know what I'm saying?
Happy, open the pipe.
You know, the game, but ultimately they wanted to control that water. You know, it was chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Like all cultures had to come up with a way to tame that water, to channel it to a particular area, to aggregate for agriculture and so forth, so on. You know what I mean? Like I said, it just you hit you with a lot of fanciful talk.
And in primitive European cultures, fire is the center point because they needed to venerate fire. Otherwise, they would freeze their ass off. So it wasn't water their main focus. It was fire. Like really, and again, what give them credit for their imagination, because again, the five senses fool you. And after the five senses fool you, you have to jump into spookism and understand that there were gods that dealt with perception and anti-perception, with matter and antimatter. And these gods is what the Egyptian, and that's how they knew. And that's it.
We talked
right
about
there.
being abstract, and they inferred. You know.
But I just did an extra abstract right there. The Egyptians, they knew that their senses were fooling them, so they relied on the gods that they created with their imagination, which is matter, antimatter, perception, anti-perception, space, anti-space, and based on the gods, they knew. Very, very metaphorically. That's their imagination. That's because when you asked about our senses, then obviously you were referring to what instruments they would have used to come up with these hypotheses. And the answer is their imagination. But you had to get the Phil Valentine explanation.
And half the stuff Wujah be talk about, how the people listen don't me understand what Wujah be saying. They just be goddamn just yeah. That shit.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that at all.
I know you didn't. We didn't.
That's why I had to record. That's why I put it back. I'm like, okay, let me see if you guys understand that, because I didn't.
It's really like, really, hey, really, he was like, all right, peace.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Thanks for that explanation.
It's like, I'm out, bro. Like, y'all have a good night, man. Then you're like, peace, y'all. Happy New Year. I'm out.
Yeah, okay, good.
Thank
you. I appreciate the explanation. Thank you so much, my brother Wujah. That was deep. I'm gonna have to play that 75 times tomorrow and a couple of times next week, and I might understand what the hell you were talking about. But thank you very much. Have a good night. Don't break it down any further. No, thanks. That's perfectly fine. I'll just play it back.
You know what we telling Wujah, like,
Wow.
I be like, don't tell me, nigga, like, show it to me. Like, show me the other scholars saying what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, validate it through them. Like, I don't want your explanation, really.
But you have to understand, the ancient Egyptians, they flipped it. So because they understood the limitation on the senses, they created imaginary gods, which formulated their imaginary. Expanded their imaginary boundaries to the point where they understood space and no space, the expansion of the universe, the primordial waters, and knew. There you go. I understood it. I played it back a couple of times in my head, and I really got it. It's not that difficult if you just filter out, the words and stuff. It makes perfect sense. Imagination. That's it. Imagination. Everything he said right there was all imagination. He didn't talk about no instruments, nothing to guide or help the senses to create these hypotheses. He didn't illustrate no kind of process whereby they could come up with these hypotheses other than imaginary gods, which expanded their imaginary capabilities by allowing them to elaborate further in their imaginary expansion on the universe and call it fact. And now we're post hoc rationalizing their imagination with science. Pseudo killers. That's what we do.
Appreciate it. I know, goddamn chef, it might be time to wrap it up.
Yeah, man, I'm going to bed after that one. Yeah, guys, have a good day.
Who done rock me to sleep? Rock me to sleep with the Woo. I'm yawning like a mother. No, y'all. But I'm a slide, man. Peace to the chat. Peace to everybody for coming through. I don't know what chef at, man. Peace, Cedric. I'm gonna slide out, y'all. Peace, Mr. Rick.
Peace to the chat. Peace to everybody. I'm gonna slide out. I don't know where chef is, but I'm out. Good night. Peace to the chat. Bye.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Go sleep on y'all. Oh,
great show. No. Everybody can say their what's the name?
Closing remarks.
Their closing remarks, yeah.
Well, I'll say this much. Boom. Thank everybody for coming through. Hopefully y'all like and share the show. Hopefully see y'all around soon. Hopefully everybody's family is doing okay and all that good stuff. Please stay safe in these corona streets and stay tuned. We will be getting another video here soon for the Death to the Pseudo series. It is done. I just need to record it and send it to Sheffrin for approval. Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and join the Pseudo Killer Discord server. Have fun.
I guess it's my turn. Anybody want to say something? Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
Everybody, join the Discord, and if you are part of the Pseudo Killers Facebook group, please try to buy the books that I'm always posting. I'm always posting books on Mao Zedong because we got to also get in. We also got to turn in. We also got to make the history, and we got to learn from what. We gotta learn history, and then we also have to learn political rhetoric as well. Like Frederick Hegel and Marxism, Leninism, all those people. We got to have history and we got to have political rhetoric because it's real out here with the far right, y'all. But yeah, join Pseudo Killers, y'all.
Appreciate it. And on that note, we'll see everybody on the next show. Hopefully, we can do it tomorrow. I lost my energy, you know what I mean? But good show. The pseudo killers are not anti-African. We just anti-flim-flam. And on that note, see y'all tomorrow. Hit that like button on y'all way out.
And if you never ask, how would you know yourself? It's crazy how your parents know you more than you know yourself. Growth is good, it's important just to know your wealth. Don't let them take advantage like niggas who speak Spanish and you don't speak a lick of it. The game will make you trip a bit. Street money is cool till you get sick of it. And all that bullshit that come along with it. Make sure you stay on your square and keep a strong pivot. Cause them cruddy buddies, they'll do you ugly. And why every female favorite question is, do you love me? And if you knew better, baby, you would do better. And once you know better, you would show better. Most men want a housewife, but me, I love a go-getter. Your ex pussy wet, but that new pussy be so wetter. lies detected. Just get high and accept it. Go ahead, talk to him. Y'all ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Man, let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you see him, you ain't give him no rap. Man, let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta say you gon' be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. Once you start something, can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack. When I was coke dealing, the rules was no squealing, no stealing from your mans and no feelings. For these hoes, that's just gonna mess up the guap. 10 toes down whenever you on your block, or even when you ain't. Don't know them from a can of paint. Just be loyal and trustworthy, you ain't gotta be a saint. A lot of y'all be geeking, backstabbing and sneaking. Nose clean during the week, but they dabble on weekends. Oh nigga, I be peeping. Your niggas might be sleeping, but I was trained to tread water in the deep end. Jellyfish sting, but them sharks will bite your head off. Run up on you while you park, get the dumping, then they slid off. The hood know who did it, now let's see if your homies with it, or your name die in vain cause one of your homies did it. Ain't no reason to kill your man over a kilogram. How you thinking y'all fam, then spin you like a ceiling fan. Go ahead, talk to him, y'all ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you see him, you ain't give him no rap. But let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta tell me you gon' be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. And once you start something, can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack.